Welcome to the Good, the Bad, and the Music podcast. I'm your host, T. Davis, and today I am excited and honored to be joined by none other than Brother Dusty. Brother
Hello.
Dusty, what's up?
What up? Good to be here.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you coming out. I had a really good time at your birthday show at the Underdog. That was a great show, man.
Yeah, dude. I'd call it a success. I felt like it was fun. It was really cool to see. I think I said this on the mic too. There were so many people that I had met when I first moved there, and there were people that I had just met like this year, and literally it was like I could look out into a crowd of like my entire Nashville journey. Like everyone from every step, or like key people from every step was there. You know what I mean? And it was a pretty random crowd, but there's actually, what's really crazy is 2 minutes before I went on, I got pulled backstage, and Sierra Farrell, Noah Kahan, and the Jonas Brothers producer sang happy birthday to me, and one of the other friends, Jen, who was there, gave me a cake that said "Whoa" on it.
Nice.
And it was so funny because I'm like in my head, like I didn't like process, like I didn't even know it was Noah Kahan. I didn't like talk to him. Somebody told me after, and dude, I literally just like was like, I need to go on stage. Like I totally did not give a shit, dude. And then I found out, and I was like, dude, that's awesome. Like it's like a punchline for a joke. Like Noah Kahan, Sierra Farrell, and the Jonas Brothers producer walk into a bar, you know, and then they give me a cake and sing happy birthday. You know, just that. And there was also like probably 2 days before the show. So I just got that upright bass this year, and since I got it, I don't know if you've ever seen Scott. I think Scott Mulvihill's his name.
Yeah.
The dude with the database with all the buttons and the lights on his bass. Dude, people send me his videos all the time, and they're like, "Oh man, this reminds me of you. Like you should do something like this." And I woke up like a couple days before the show, and that dude followed me on Instagram, and I was like,
"Yeah, I
what?
ran into him there. Like, Bree and I were walking up to the show, and I was like, is that Scott Mulvihill?"
Yeah.
And she was like, "It looks like him." I was like, "That's Scott Mulvihill right there." And I walked up, and I was like, "What's up?" And I told him, I was like, "Yeah, like, you know, I love Brother Dusty's stuff, and my friend Victor from back in North Carolina is playing on this show." And I've been listening to him for God, like 7 years now. So a friend of mine that lives here and has been here for like 20-something years now. His name is Josh Schilling. He's a keyboard player.
Okay.
And right now he plays with Winona.
Okay, I've heard of that. Yeah.
And he plays so Marcus King, Charlie Starr, and Paul Riddle, like and Oteil Burbridge, they put together a super group called the Toy Factory Project. And it's like a tribute to Toy Caldwell from Marshall Tucker Band.
Okay.
And so he's been in that group, but he played with Scott when he did Tiny Desk.
Oh, sick. Okay.
And so like I've been listening to his stuff for a long time. And it was just, I was like, shit that only happens in this town, bro.
Yeah.
And the same thing, that's what I love about that story.
Yeah, and that's how we ran into each other again. Yeah, that's hilarious because we were at that show. Yeah, man, so he followed me, and I normally like, I don't know, like when I meet people who are like really high up or whatever, I try to just like, they're just people. You know what I mean? Like I don't really like doing the I don't know what the word is. I'm tired.
It's hard to avoid fangirling sometimes.
Yeah, and like kind of scavenging and being like, hey, can I have opportunities? But like I was just like, hey man, like, you know, I do the upright bass thing, and like it would be awesome to open up for you sometime if you're ever in Nashville. And he was like, dude, I live in Nashville. And I was like, whoa, like
I love
and I was like, well man, I'm having a birthday party and like I'm releasing this new song, and he was like, I know, because I've discovered you because I saw you on a poster for your gig poster, and he was like, I'm gonna be at your show, and I was like, dude, that's amazing. And I honestly only got to, it was really tough. Like I would say the only bad thing about my birthday party was so many people that I love were there, and they wanted to talk to me, and I had to go sing, and it was loud. And so everyone's like, what you been up to, man? And it's like, I had to have the same conversation with like 50 people. And it got to the point where it was like, I had to keep it chill. Like I had to be like, "What's up, dude? Thanks for coming. Like I love you. Like I gotta go do something." Because like I don't want to throw my voice out, man.
Well, that's the thing, and that I kind of want to use that to segue into like how like your journey here, because the whole like the Sierra Farrell Noah Khan
Yeah,
story,
yeah,
and then you having to go perform, and not only that, but like you put that whole event together with all the vendors, and like
yeah,
you hired, you had like your friends from all these different genres come and play on the bill
yeah,
with you.
yeah.
Is that, and that's why I wanted to talk. Like, well, I really dig your stuff.
Thank you.
Just first,
Yeah,
I went to your show at the Basement, and I was like, this
yeah,
is
yeah.
unfucking real.
That's
This is
awesome.
like,
Yeah,
this is this music is full of so many cool surprises and
yeah,
like twists
yeah,
and turns that
yeah.
keep you so interested in every song. And I was like, so I wanted to have you on for that, but then I also realized like how much you're not only, you are responsible for like all of what's going on in your career right
Right.
now,
Yeah.
and you're constantly trying to share your platform with your friends and the scene here.
Yeah.
And so you having to like rush away from Noah
Yeah.
Khan singing happy birthday to you
Yeah. Yeah.
to be on stage, and not only be on stage, but kind of make sure that the rest of the show and everyone's good. Like you're
Yeah.
kind of like looking out for everybody.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like, oh, it's about me.
No.
It's like, sure, it's my birthday and whatever, and I have this, music
Yeah.
video release, but it's about promoting the scene.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And that's what I want to talk to you about, is like, how did you go from, you grew up in, was it Kokomo, Indiana?
Yeah.
I want to talk about how you got to this point to where you've got like over 100 people all
Yeah.
involved deeply in the music scene, especially
Yeah.
the rock scene here in town, stoked to be at your birthday party.
Yeah.
Not just like, yeah, sure, but like, and people, the vibe that I got was that everybody in that bar that night was like sincerely rooting for you.
Yeah.
And everybody felt like joy to be there.
Yeah. Dude. No, it was awesome, man.
So like, tell me how you went from growing up in Kokomo, Indiana to like at this be here.
So I mean that's kind of a long story, but
that's cool. We got a long format.
Yeah. The quickest way is I started playing music. I did my dad was a bass player, and that was a whole thing. And then I ended up joining the percussion in the high school band, and like doing section leader and drumline and all that stuff. And towards the end of high school, I started a band with some buddies. We graduated. We eventually played like Warped Tour. And this was like super early 20s, man. And we just grew apart. Like I'm actually cooler with those dudes now than what I have been in like the last 10 years, because it's been so long. But they were very similar, and their lives were going in a similar direction, and like we were all just raised a little different, and you don't really know that when you're in high school, but as you become men and you get out into the real world, you start realizing like really who you are, and that band ended up dissipating. So I ended up going back to college for a year at Ball State. And I decided like I want to go solo. I want to have my own thing. Like I want to have a band, where I'm not someone's drummer or someone's bassist. Like it's my thing. Not for selfish reasons, but like for job security. It's like we played Warped Tour, and then right after that we played like a festival for like 600 people, and then I got kicked out. And it was like, whoa, like you can literally go from 100 to nothing immediately if one other person decides that you're not there. And so after that, I started on the endeavor of like putting my own band together. And man, then I joined like another band, and then I joined another band and another band, and I got to the point where I was in 5 bands. I was in like an indie Americana acoustic band. I was in a jazz hip hop R&B band. I was in a metal band, and then I was like in a 2-piece punk band that just did like covers in bars. Which, by the way, a 2-piece cover band, I'm sure you can imagine, it's so much money, dude.
Yeah,
it was crazy. But I did that for a while, and my dad had moved to Nashville, and I just thought, like, I can only go so far in Indiana, dude. I mean, there's opportunity, but like you plateau pretty quickly. And this was honestly before like TikTok and Instagram and like all that was like a real, like nowadays it's like that's how you do it. But back then it was just like, oh yeah, social media, you know? And so I moved down here with my dad, and I moved here with my band that was like my
and
band.
what year would that have been?
This is 2017.
Okay.
So 8.5 years ago, I moved here with my main band, and I actually convinced like 10 other people from my hometown, like similar to you and all your buddies. Like all the Kokomo people came down here, which eventually led to like Hippies and Cowboys, Calvin from Sidewinder in the metal scene, and like some other people. Tristan Norfleet in like the bluegrass world, and he's doing really well. But I got here, and the drummer had a lease back home, so he hadn't moved here yet, and I was just like giddy to play gigs, like I was ready to do it. And so I went out to a blues jam, and I met these just the trippiest dudes, Liam and Rocco, and I was like, yo, they're it. Like that's some real shit. Like they are it, bro. And I started talking to them, and they were like, you know, we're looking for a bass player and a drummer, and we saw you play bass, and like we think you should join our band. And I was like, I am already the bass player for my own band, and that's why I moved here, and like that's my entire life. But I've put my 10,000 hours in on drums. I was a drumline instructor back home, and like I was like a professional. Like I have no insecurities in drumming. You know what I mean? And so I told him, I was like, y'all would be way better off for time management sake and my ability to like commit if I play drums for you. And it's funny because they were like, bro, our drummer will be like the next John Bonham, dude. Like you can't be our drummer. And I showed them like 15 seconds of me playing drums on Instagram, and they were like, you're our drummer, bro. And man, you know, that was, I told them day one, like, hey, like I've got my own thing, but like I just want to play music and meet people and like go have fun and just go do it. And I really believe in your guys' music, and like I want to be a part of the journey. And so we were Daylight Sinners was the name of it. And man, that band, I mean, they just made really good, like high level choices as far as like music career is concerned. And dude, from there, I mean, once people in the scene started discovering that I was also a drummer, because I didn't bring my drum set to Nashville until I joined that band. Like I put drums behind me because of the previous story that I told you about, you know what I mean? But dude, once that happened, man, like next thing I knew, I was in 5 bands, and then I went homeless, and the deal was like, a lot of times I would sleep on like a park bench or like behind a church or just like straight up on the ground at some like store or something like that. But it was kind of like, yo, I'll join your band. I'll learn all your songs. I'll be your bass player and your drummer, whatever you want, if I can just sleep on your fucking couch. Like whether it be the day before we practice or the day after we practice. But I was so busy doing all that, man, like I didn't go home. So it was just like, why am I paying rent, you know? So I did that, and, you know, through that over the span of 8 years, I would say I have played in or with like probably 30 or almost 30 bands as like either a member or a collaboration, or like, you know, it's like, I don't know if you know like Andrew Lambie. I played 1 gig with that dude, and we did a couple studio sessions together. So I consider that like not equal to what I did with Daylight Sinners for like 2 years, but it's like I played with that dude. You know what I mean? And I've probably done, like I said, like 30 bands since then. And along playing, I've also been a booking agent. I've booked a lot of shows that I had nothing to do with. I have done social media, like content, like videos and editing videos and music videos and directing videos. I've also been like a journalist doing like write-ups for bands and like shouting bands out. Obviously teaching, and then over time, like working with so many different engineers, I've become like an executive producer, like more of a Rick Rubin of like, I'm not pressing buttons, dude, but like I'll be the conductor. Like I'll tell you like what it's missing and what's too much, and like I'll give you ideas, and we'll talk about effects and production and stuff like that. So through doing all of that and working with all these bands, dude, like I've just met such like a larger capacity than what I ever would have if I would have just only played in my own band. You know what I mean? And just through all that journey, dude, I've just met a lot of those people in the crowd were friends. I mean, there was like a couple there that I met literally on fucking Broadway that I'm still friends with. There were bands that I've played with, bands that I've toured with, bands that I've been in, bands that I've supported and just done like write-ups for, bands that I've done their videos for. And then there were some of my engineers and producers there, and then just like some homies, you know what I mean? So that's kind of how that all went down. You mentioned Sierra. I met Sierra Farrell at a grocery store, dude. And I looked at her, she looked at me. I was wearing a hairnet, glasses, and an apron, bro, because I worked at Kroger. And I just looked the goofiest, man. So but she was dressed. It was the Murder Kroger. I don't know if you've been to Murder Kroger on the East.
I've seen, yeah.
But I don't know if you know much about Sierra, but like she just wears a damn prom dress everywhere she goes. And I literally looked at her, bro, and I was just like, that's a really nice dress for Murder Kroger. And I didn't think anything of it. I kept walking. That night I'm on Facebook, and I'm scrolling through my stories, and I just see this girl wearing the dress. And I messaged her, and I was like, I didn't know who she was. Like, I didn't know she was a musician. I didn't know anything, but like, I guess I followed her on Facebook. So I messaged her, and I was like, hey, random, but were you at Kroger earlier today? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, I saw you. And she was like, I saw you. And I was like, well, I was wearing a fucking hairnet and glasses and an apron. I wish you didn't see me, you know? And, man, like, it was like a really short, quick conversation, and all of a sudden she was like, you want to smoke a joint? And I was like, fucking sure, dude. So she came over and brought me like a 6-pack of beer, and met her, and then checked out her music and was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oops. And man, you know, over the last few years, we've just found really subtle, weird. I mean, she plays in a completely different industry than what I do. Not even on a success level, but like she plays like old time country with a modern twist. And I'm sort of getting into that vibe with like a different kind of modern twist. But man, like one day she needed help folding her laundry, dude, and I just like realized, like, you know, she's really successful. She's got a lot on her plate, and I like helping people, and I like cleaning my room. So I folded her laundry like one time, dude, and I put all her stuff away. And probably like a year or two later, dude, she was going on tour, and she was like, do you want to watch my house? Do you want to watch my dog? And like it just turned into this thing, and like she honestly is the reason I'm able to do everything that I'm doing right now. She's not giving me any cheat codes. She's not like, there's no way like anyone could be like, oh, he's only doing this because she's helping. Like I'm doing all the things that she doesn't have time for in her personal life. And dude, just like helping her out as much as I can, and that's like kind of like my full-time job right now. You know when people are like, I want to be so successful in life that I can just pay someone else to do all my responsibilities so I can just chill and do whatever I want. She's doing that, and I'm the one, bro. I'm the butler, man, and she's honestly like probably like my closest friend. She's like my big sister, you know what I mean? So through that, I've met some cool people. But it's really not like that, man. I mean, people come up and they're like, well, a lot of people have realized like I'm pretty close with her, and they're just like, well, why don't you get her to do that? And it's like, no, like I don't look at her even as a musician sometimes. Like we're pretty comfortable around each other, just like people, you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't ever want to be like, hey, will you do this for me? Will you, you're famous, like hook me up. And it's like, I just don't. We're just buddies, you know.
Well,
what I
that's
mean?
kind of like what you were talking about meeting Scott. And
yeah,
it's like when you meet someone, and I'm very self-aware in that regard as well. It's like when you meet someone who, you know, you perceive to be farther along in their career than you currently are. I like am so self-conscious that I don't want to be perceived as like asking for things.
Well, because then you're just basically saying like, hey, you're somebody and I'm a nobody. Type vibes. You know what I mean? Now, if there's like a specific way that you know that they can help you, that is like a common thing that like you'd ask me for, or I'd ask you for, or you would go to Victor and be like, yo, dude, what's that dude's number? Like, I feel like that's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but presenting as if you expect something, or that you even would assume that they can help you.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just icky.
Yeah. No, I
feel
hate
like,
it.
you know,
I hate
and
it.
so
Yeah.
I totally empathize with that, bro. Like,
Yeah, man.
That's a weird thing that when people do that.
She was showing me some of her music, and I was like, do you want to hear like what I've been working on? And I showed her like the 3 singles I was telling you about earlier today that I had like mixed and mastered, and I showed her Whoa, and she was like, that's crazy. She was like, that's dope, dude. And she was just like, she's like, I believe in you, and I really want to invest in your music. Would you be down to just like quit Broadway, quit like working on 10 different people's music videos at the same time, and just like literally focus on yourself all day, every day, and just like stay at my house when I'm gone, and like just help me out. You know what I mean? Just she was like, do my chores, bro. And honestly, like that is the like most helpful thing that's probably like I feel like she's done more for me than like any friend or family ever has. You know what I mean? But it's just like it's a nonchalant, mutually beneficial thing. You know what I mean? Like it's just but it has been really cool, man, and it's been just like being friends with her and being next to her. I don't really need to ask for something, because literally just being in the same room and seeing the way that she chills and the way that she talks and the way that she makes decisions is like, it's just so much. People think of like getting onto her level is like this thing you see on TV, and it's like, I'm chilling in the living room, bro. Like I'm just there, and I'm witnessing the reality of what this looks like, and it's like literally so possible. Like I met her before, like right before everything that's happening now happened, and it's just like that's enough for me. You know what I mean? Just to literally just like go get her groceries, bro. It's like that has helped me, and it's I mean, dude, I'm tracking 3 albums right now, and I'm paying through for most of it. It's just been like, that's my job, dude. I just, whatever she needs me to do, I do things. I've had to develop life skills, bro. Like I've had to do shit that I should have known how to do forever ago, and I just don't. I literally, like dishes. I'm pretty fucking good at doing dishes now, man. Sweeping floors, cleaning the counter.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, making the bed and stuff like that. It's like I've had to like figure out all these different things. And I don't know, man. It's been like a really cool part of the adventure where I look forward to the future, where like any great thing that happens to me, I can be like, yo, I couldn't have done this without you. Like I want to get to the point where I can like repay her, and like I want to be able to help her the way that she, like, obviously I help her. You know what I mean? Like her dog is literally my best friend, bro. Look, that's my boy, Mr. Baker.
Mr. Baker,
dude, he's the best friend I've ever had for sure. But I mean, he damn near thinks that like he's my dog, because like, dude, he's my buddy, man. We have like our own language and everything, but yeah. So that kind of explains like all the other people, because all those people I talked about, they were just there with her. You know what I mean? And she was just coming for my birthday and helping me out. But
so talk to me about like, what were your because your music, for those who, one, if you have not listened to Brother Dusty, definitely do that. I'll leave links in like the show description and everything. Yeah. But I described it to you as like, when I heard it, it was like Red Hot Chili Peppers meets Django Reinhardt.
Yeah.
Because I caught your show at the Basement, and it's like, it was like hip hop, punk, and funk, but on acoustic instruments.
Yeah, yeah.
And with elements of jazz. And dude, it seriously blew my mind, bro. Like,
thanks, dude.
Like I was, because all of the songs have like such cool like stops and transitions, and like, and time signature changes and tempo changes. I was like, it's like you can't stop like you're 100% invested.
Yeah, good.
While it's happening.
Good, dude. That's awesome.
And I was like, dude, what the fuck? So I have to know, like, how did you get into all this stuff? And I have a hypothesis now that I know that drums was your first. Is that was your first instrument?
Yeah.
So my dad's a drummer.
Okay.
And like
my dad's a bassist.
And his dad was a bassist.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what I have noticed about bass players and drummers is, one, you often end up being the utility guy that has to play fucking everything.
Yeah.
So like my dad, when he was, like 6, played in honky tonk country acts with my grandpa at like Elks Lodges playing, Hank Williams on a snare drum with brushes.
Yeah.
And then on the weekends, they'd play in big band swing, outfits in, Raleigh, North Carolina, the bigger cities or whatever. So that leads me back to, how the fuck did you get into all of this different kind of shit? Is it because you just had to play it all at some point?
Honestly, I feel like the simplest way to answer it is ADHD, bro. Like, just literally, man, like I can't pick a thing. When I picked up a guitar, man, it's like when I play guitar, I can't do like rock and roll. Like that's just like I can play chords, I can write like pretty love songs, and then I can do like blues. You know what I mean? With bass, I really like doing like crazy Egyptian worldly like gypsy jazz type stuff. And then with drums, I love like anywhere from trap beats to metal and punk to like big band swing and jazz. So it's like every different instrument I've played has its own story of like where I've taken that instrument. At this point, there was a long time where I could tell you who my influences were and how I got the sound that I did. But man, at this point, it's like the southern bluegrassy, like, Americana folk side of me has like a whole list of influences. The rock side of me has a whole list of influences. The jazz side of me has a whole list of influences. I really don't know at this point. Honestly, it's me. Like that's all I can describe it. Like if people are like, so how are you gonna describe like your genre? Like honestly, the only answer I have right now, dude, is my genre is fuck you. Like I want to do what I want. I know that it's hard. Like you kind of got to pick a lane. But like I want to play every instrument and I want to play every genre, and like I know that that's pretty easy as a freelance guy, but to put your face on it and be an artist that just goes everywhere, I think it's more of a challenge. But like I'm just gonna fucking do it. Like I don't really care.
Yeah. So I've been listening to your stuff today because I'm prepare.
Okay.
And I wanted to talk to you about your album that came out, was this 2023?
Stick It to the Man.
Yeah, Stick It to the Man. Because I listened to that album and I was like, there's like so many different genres packed into this.
Yeah. There's actually like 2, in my opinion. There's 2. And
in your opinion, what are they?
And then there's one song that is a third.
Okay. What are the 2?
I would say the 2, I'm not going to use genre. I'm going to say one of them is Beastie Boys' Rage Against the Machine. That's like half the songs on the album. The other half of the album is more of like, dude, I used to be so good at this, but more like a Tyler, the Creator, Ghostmane, like gothic rap. You know what I mean? Like dark, like Dracula trap type shit. And that was like, so that album is really interesting, man. Like those were all songs that I wrote that I didn't have an outlet for anywhere else, that I didn't think would go good for my band. And like everyone fucking gets bored, like writes raps and shit like that. You know what I mean? So I had a lot of ideas that was just like, it's not worth recording with my band, but like I do want to do it. And a lot of them, like the song I Didn't, that was like the first song I ever wrote, and I didn't record it till probably 6 years later. So I just started over. That album took 10 years, and not 10 years of work, 10 years of not having any work to do. So I worked on that album. You know what I mean? It was like that album was literally my last priority, because Brother Dusty, this year, 2025, is the first time I've ever made my solo career my priority. It's always been like, oh, I do this, and this. But if you want to hear some of my stuff, it's there.
Okay.
But like, I would put it out. I would do a music video because I like videos, and then I would promote it once or twice, move on. So what's really crazy, dude, about that album, it's like kind of sad, honestly, is over the span of 10 years, like I wrote the songs and then I recorded them all while I lived in Nashville, and the main producer was my buddy Paul Hamill. And towards the very end of the album's process of when it got done, I lived with Paul, and he was my landlord, my roommate, and my engineer. And I mean, dude, he had a lot of struggles and like wasn't having a good time, dude. And we got the album done, and one day he just didn't come home. Then I got a call from the cops, and they're like, hey, we found this dude's body in the car, and like we needed to let you know. And like I had to talk to his parents and everything, and like get his stuff out of the house. And I went down, man, and he had this notebook, and the first page of the notebook was notes on how he wanted to like invest all his time into like promoting my album. Like, I wasn't gonna do it. I was just gonna move on and focus on my band. And like he was like, these are the radio stations that I want to hit up, and like these are the people that I want to like connect the music to. And then I turned the page, bro, and it was just like this like really long note about, it was like he knew it was going to happen, but he didn't. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a suicide note. It was like, this is why I'm not happy. Like, this is why I don't love my life, and this is everything that went wrong. And it was like his soul was just like preparing to leave. You know what I mean?
Damn,
and then,
dude.
I mean, dude, and then I turn a couple more pages, and there's all these like love letters and poetry to this girl. And I had to like message this girl and be like, I don't know you, but I need you to call me. And like, she knew. She called me, like, she knew exactly what had happened. She knew there was only one reason I would call her. You know what I mean? And dude, yeah, it was crazy, man. So like, I really, like I said, it was like a side project, like B-side type of vibe, and it was a bunch of singles, and I put the album out just like for him. You know what I mean? And around that time was when I was like really, really focused on the band that I was in up until last year. So like, I put it out, shouted my boy out, and then I did a little bit of promo just to say I had it, and then I just moved on with my life. But I actually just listened to that album yesterday, and I was like, man, I wish I would have like put a little more into it, because a lot of it was cringy for me, dude, because I don't want to be a rapper, but the whole album is technically like a hip-hop album, but there's a different guitar player on every song. I did all the bass and drums for pretty much everything.
Dude, the fucking bass and drums is, I mean,
Thanks, dude.
it's all sick.
Yeah.
But like, I was gonna ask you about the personnel on that, because the production is really dope. It's cool.
Thanks,
like,
man.
but the fucking bass and drums, man.
Yeah.
I like a lot of people, and this is interesting because you mentioned this when we were downstairs talking before we started recording. You said that like, and I've read the Nashville Voyager article. I told you about that. Like that you think of the voice rhythmically.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, so like it would make sense that there's going to be hip hop elements.
Right.
And like, I think that's a really interesting thing, because when you grow up playing drums, I feel like you analyze everything from that point of view first. My dad's the same way. My dad doesn't pay attention to the lyrics of songs really. He's like, everything is, what is sitting in the pocket and all that stuff. Yeah. And I think the way that you use the voice is super expressive rhythmically.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I want to do. Is it's more personality and like diction. I think as a drummer and a bass player, it's easier to write songs on guitar and piano. Everybody knows that. You learn the traditional chord structures and formats and stuff, and I never had that. So I do a lot of non-traditional songwriting formats and techniques, because I'm more thinking about the rhythm and the groove and like the time changes and like doing weird stuff with the structure before I even think about like, what's the progression? Where's the melodic movement? You know what I mean? So for me, it's like I'm cursed by sticking to the one like the home note, like I just whatever key I'm in, bro, it's pretty rare that I leave that note in like any song. You know, I'm just now getting to the point where I'm like, I need to change the fucking chord sometimes. But for me, it's like, how do I stay on one note the whole time and then like give them new parts and like take it somewhere else?
Well, it's very riff driven, and it's really, really interesting, man. And like I love like the little, you know, I don't know, you do some really cool stuff on that record where, you know, every other bar you're like just syncopating like the fourth beat or something. Just something to keep it like it's still grooving, but it's like, oh, it's like a little like it tickles the surprise fancy. You know?
I would say like all the ones that are like obviously full musician, I did all the bass and drums for those. I had some ideas for the guitar part. Like a lot of times if I hire a guitar player, I'll give them a direction or I'll give them like a melody or something like that to work with, or like I need chords here, I need solos here, I need leads here, type vibes, you know what I mean? But and then the other ones were just like rap beats that my buddy from back home, he did those, and some of them like I helped him on, or some of them I was like, hey man, like here's my tempo, here's my rhythm, here's like the basic element that's in my head, like turn this into whatever you can, and then if you don't finish it, just send me the project file, you know. So I mean the album was like, it was really low budget, it was really low quality. I mean, it wasn't really low quality. It just wasn't like, I did not put effort into that album. Like that whole album was purely just for fun, just me goofing off. I do hope. I used to think it was so cringy, dude, and I listened to it yesterday, and it's like, man, I mean,
nah, dude, it's not.
No, yeah, it doesn't really matter.
I
so
think
it's
we
like,
get real precious with our own stuff.
Yeah,
that's just the thing. Like I listen to my old stuff, and I'm like, fucking shit.
Yeah, dude.
Why?
Yeah,
and you know, I think, you know, I was talking to I had my friend over yesterday. We were just working on some stuff, and I want him to release this song, and he's like, I just, you know, you don't like your old shit.
Yeah.
When you get it's weird. It's like when you have new babies, new shiny, fresh toys that you want to show people, your old stuff, even if it's just a few months, starts to feel like, you know.
Yeah. I kind of hope that as I start releasing new stuff, that people do see that and they're like, oh, what's this? Like, I'll check this out, because it's my new stuff. Like, Whoa is a pretty unique single for the album that is going on. But like my album that I'm working on right now, that I'm putting Whoa on, is I put a lot more effort into basically doing another Stick It to the Man. You know what I mean? It's very similar vibes. This one doesn't have any songs that are just rap beats. It's all like instrumental rock and roll with hip hop. But there's jazz this time. Like the upright bass line and Whoa, like there's not every song, but like I would say at least half the songs on this album have some slight like jazzy twist somewhere. Some of them more than others. Some of them are just like the riff. You could be like, oh, this kind of sounds jazz. But like it's another like along the vein of like Rage Against the Machine, Beastie Boys type of. I hate like having to think that way.
Yeah, you don't.
Like,
I mean, but it's so you. Those are just ways of telling of if people are gonna ask,
relating,
you can say that.
Yeah.
But that acoustic and jazz element is like a whole fucking different.
Yeah.
It adds,
it switches it up.
It really does. Like that. And like so. Who are the people that you are like collaborating with on that? Like, can you like name some of the homies that are playing on that stuff?
So I executive produce everything that I do, and then I hire a team to work under me. So like, I'll have a demo engineer, I'll have a tracking engineer once the demo's done. If the tracking engineer doesn't have a drum set up, I'll go get a drum engineer, and then I'll do final vocals with that guy. And then I'll actually send it to another guy for mixing and post-production to like turn it into whatever it is. For this album on Whoa, I've got Caleb Oxkowski, like young dude, works more in the alt scene. Like he does a lot of like popular emo bands from back in the day. Really good guy. He's producing the whole album. The first half of that album I did with Nolan Brown before he moved out of his house. But like Whoa, some of the other ones that are going to be coming out whenever, I don't even know. But like Hurricane, Noise, and What Have I Become? I did most of that with Nolan. And then I got this dude, Miles Ascalise. He started off like a lot of the songs. Like I would go to his house and start the demo phases. You know what I mean? And then like Neef Walker has helped me just sort of get into, like, there was one song that was not going to be a song. It wasn't going to be anything, man. And he just put the keyboard in front of me and was like, I want to hear this thing that you're talking about. And I did it, and I was like, maybe. So that's like as far as the administration and like production role goes. But every song I love. I wouldn't even necessarily call it a collaboration because all they really do is play guitar or like piano. Some of them do more than that though. But like, if I could go through the track list, like Whoa, I had Kentaro Yamamuro. Dude's just shredded. He's a top beast. 3 in Nashville for me. He's like one of my best friends. He played guitar on that one. I got another song that I'm like, I'm a little self-conscious about it because it's purposefully stupid. Like it's like kind of like a mockery of the music business these days, you know. But the guitar player for that is my roommate Matthias, Matt Lamparter. He's my guitar player in my band, and I'm his bass player in his band. I got one called Noise that was actually Nolan Brown wrote it for Multi Ultra, but they record like 40 demos. They probably record like 50 to 60 demos a year. And he showed it to me, and me and Nolan had been working together a lot. I was the drummer for Multi Ultra for like a year. So I was working on their music, which was influencing me a lot. And then Nolan was recording like the high quality demos for my old band, and he was recording like 2 different sides of my solo project. So we were around each other all the time, and he showed me this demo. And I was like, I don't know how to like say this like the right way, but like I can tell you've been hanging out with me. Like I can tell we've been chilling, dude. And he was like, this is definitely the most Brother Dusty song I've ever written. And I was like, if your band doesn't cut this by the end of this year, I'm stealing it. Like I want to do that song, man. And they didn't. So him and I like got together, and he played guitar and like synthesizer, did some background vocals. I'm actually doing a music video for it this Tuesday.
Sweet.
But Nolan did that one, and then what else, man? I did this song that I wrote in like fucking high school, dude, and I never recorded it. Like it's one of my favorite songs. It's like one of my favorite bass riffs. It's like it's damn near a drum solo with like a really cool bass line over it. And I had like these guitar parts in my head, so I went to this dude, Diego Vargas, who is like a Pantera type of dude. He plays in Jane and the Killer Queens.
Oh yeah, okay.
Dude's a monster. Honestly, man, going to that dude's house and having Diego play guitar on my song was probably my #1 favorite studio session I've ever done. He literally, I would be like, here's my idea, and he would he was like fucking AI, dude. Like he would spit back 5 variations of like exactly what I wanted.
Nice.
Super easy to work with, quick. Like literally demoed his own stuff. We pieced the song together, and like he got the whole structure written down slowly. Never argued. Like literally took all my ideas and then like would be like, what about this? What about this? Do you like this? And like, you know, we sort of just went back and forth sculpting each other's ideas, and we got done, and he was like, man, give me a couple of days. I'm going to practice this, memorize it, and I'm going to just go through and like do the whole thing as one take. Probably my favorite song on the album.
Hell yeah,
like,
man.
dude, if you ever need like a heavy fucking guitar player, Diego Vargas was the best studio musician I've ever worked with in my life. And then there's this other song called Trash that Rob Salsich and I did, where we made the riff like a year or 2 ago, and we never did anything with it. So I hit him up and I was like, hey man, like I really want to use that riff. I want to like write a song with it. So him and I met up a couple times, and this was the first time where I wasn't like, I didn't have Nolan Brown he moved into an apartment. So he was like resetting up all of his studio gear. So me and Rob ended up doing the whole song like between him and I before I sent it to Caleb to glue. Caleb glues all the songs together because I do them all differently at different places with different people, and then I give them to Caleb so Caleb can like turn them into a cohesive piece. You know what I mean? But Rob and I, we put Trash together. And that was really fun, but that was like the first time where I started branching off and like working with like other people other than Nolan. And then I got another one. I think I'm gonna call it a crime. But Jimmy Haynes, Jimbo from the band Overlook, sent me this instrumental. This was the first song on the album where I'm not playing anything. I mean, he sent me the instrumental, and I was like, dude, honestly, this would go like in the album. Like I could literally not just use this, but like I could need this song. You know what I mean? Like this might be something that takes my EP into an album if I do it. And I retracked one idea on bass. I was like, I've got this like one bass line that I'm thinking about. And then I came over to his house. Jimmy is crazy as an engineer, man. He's just like super fast. Like I feel like I'm speeding balls, dude, when I hang out with Jimmy because he just works super quick. The moment you're done with your sentence, like he's already done with the note. And he's got 5 notes in already before you can even like think of your next thought. That was really cool. But he played everything on that. We programmed the drums, and I just rearranged the structure and like turned it into a song. And then there's another song that, like I said, my buddy Neef, he was like, "Do you ever play keyboard?" And I was like, I know how a keyboard works. I know all the rules. I know like how to formulate all the chords. I know my scales. I took a keyboard class in college, but like I don't fucking, this is Nashville, bro. I don't play keys. You know what I mean?
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Like, I would call myself a guitar player until I moved here.
Yeah, exactly. Same for guitar. Don't hire me on guitar, but come watch me play guitar. You know what I mean? But I told Neef, and he pulls his MIDI board out, and he was like, "Do it." And I showed him me, and man, we recorded. I put a bass line over it and drums over it, and I was just like, "Oh, that's kind of sick." Like, fuck. So then I sent that to Reverend Matt Vero, and he's good at keys, and him and I have like collabed before, and we're just good buddies. We have like a very similar vibe and like philosophy on life, and I was just like, hey man, like I'm not a fucking real keyboard player. Like I'm curious to see what someone who's got like the dark vampire energy could do as a real piano player. And dude, he sent me back. Like this was not going to go on the album. This was just like, I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I sent it to him. And dude just like sends me back. I don't even like, I want it to be a surprise, honestly. But like he sends me back the biggest fucking plot twist. I mean, it was like Game of Thrones plot. It was like, dude, it was like a really good Netflix plot twist. You know what I mean? Like he's playing the keys, and all of a sudden, I see a change in the waveform on my phone, and I'm like, what's that? And when I found out, bro, I was like, this is the last song on my album. And it's just jazzy enough to where it like if I'll probably start with Whoa or Stuck in the Game, and which both are like a little jazzy but not, and then it gets progressively heavier and darker, and then at the very end it goes back to the jazzy thing, like cycles back around, and I was like, this is the perfect like seal on the album, you know. So, but yeah, man, I mean, I hire different engineers and producers based on what I need, and for that album specifically, every song is me playing bass drums and vocals. Oh, also, there's one more song called Hurricane, where my buddy Winton is playing guitar. And he just did an incredible job. He's one of my favorite musicians and favorite people in Nashville. And this was the last song I ever tracked with Paul. So after I got done with the Stick It to the Man album, when I lived with Paul, I was like, dude, I got this idea. It was the quickest I've ever wrote a song and then recorded it. I wrote it and I got it recorded within like 3 days. And then, you know, I obviously went back and like messed with it. But we got that basically done, and like, dude, Paul passed like probably a month after that. So that was like when I released that, I definitely want to like be like, you know, this was the last thing me and my buddy ever did, you know. But yeah, I it's looking like it's gonna be an 8-track album. That's my rock album. I'm actually working on like a country blues version of like all the stuff that you saw at the show. More of that, because we were gonna do the rock stuff mainly, and that was gonna be Brother Dusty. And when my band broke up, dude, I had a bunch of shows left over. So I had to figure something out, and I didn't have time to teach all these complicated changes and work on the effects and like get everything right. So we just went and played acoustic, man, and I got an upright bass, and we showed up and we played with like a bunch of rock bands, and they were like, hey man, you know, rock and roll or whatever, but like that was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you singing and rapping with an upright bass over some like funk beats and like shredding guitar was fucking it, dude.
I'm telling you, man.
And so it was like, man, like until I get like a solid band lineup together that's like committed enough to learn these more complicated songs, like let's just do these 3-chord little like hillbilly bangers, dude. So I'm now that turned into a thing where I'm recording an album of that's like more of a like I want to call it like modern outlaw country blues. Like it's a lot of trap beats and hip hop beats over like what you saw, like there's 808s over like fiddle, mandolin, upright bass, acoustic guitar, and like train beats. You know what I mean? So that's that album, and then. Dude, I mean, I've got a bunch of like little like singer-songwriter like love ballads, and I'm working on an album of that. But
yeah, that was another thing that you did at that basement show. It's like you did the whole set, and then it was just you and the acoustic, and I was like, well, goddamn,
just
dude.
a whole different thing. Yeah, man. So I when it's all said and done, dude, I want to put my show together as like a circus. I want it to be like travel around the world with Dusty, and like I'm gonna add back like my old band did a lot of like desert style like funk, punk, rock, rap, metal, blues. I don't know, man. Yeah. I thought that was complicated. People are like, what do you play? And it was like, I mean, psychedelic, blues, rock, funk. I would say like funky blues, rock, funk, punk, Egyptian cotton style or some shit. That was like a lyric or something. And I was like, man, that's really complicated. And now people are like, what do you do? And I'm just like, I don't want to play this game anymore, dude.
Yeah, come see. Listen to it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's why I said my genre is fuck you, because, like, that's the best way I know how to, like, don't box me in, bro. Like, I don't want to act like that, but it's, like, the best way I can sell myself is, like, stop trying to put me in a cage. You know what I mean? Because sitting there and give them a whole list of the 10 different genres that the music consists of is just not, that's just going to make people be like, what? You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I really, a lot of the shows, I think I did that at the basement where I start off by myself and then I add a guy and I add a guy and I build the band on stage. And then a lot of the shows that I've done, I'll build the whole band up, do a bunch of crazy shit, and then the band leaves and I do one more song by myself as like a goodbye. And that's been a really cool show format. I didn't do that at the Underdog because I haven't really been practicing, but that writer's round that you're throwing me into, I'm trying to do a lot more of that, and I'm trying to really, really get good at these love ballads because I've already got 4 of them recorded, but the scratch vocals are like scratchy scratch vocals, you know? And it's like, dude, I don't even want to do the final vocals right now. Like, I want to go and play those songs 100 times and get the muscle memory of like, I want to hear it, get it good, and then be like, no, I can make it better. And then be like, no, I can make it better, and I can make it better. And then I want to record the finals. So that's the rock album, I'm supposed to get it done tonight. Like, I'm leaving here, going to practice with one of my guitar players, and then I'm supposed to do the very, very last tracking for the rock album. And then this coming month, I'm supposed to get done with the country album, and then I'm gonna spend the rest of the year working on like the pretty like love ballad stuff. So
I feel what you're saying of like wanting to, because what you're saying is like you want to be able to perform it in the studio. Because I mean, I've done that where like you get really excited about a song, and then like you're basically recording it almost as you're learning it. Yeah. And like I've done that where I've put stuff out that I wrote, you know, like 2 weeks ago. Yeah. and I'm like, damn. After a year of singing it and doing it live, you're like,
oh, it's way different.
I could have. It was different and better.
Yeah, the muscle memory is
and I could
have,
and like,
dude.
So I really don't do that anymore. I typically play songs out like live several times now before I like, go and try to cut it.
That's how I feel too. I also think it's like with my rock stuff, it's a lot of rapping at like one note. I'll pick a note and like I'll pick like a blues scale thing and I'll just go up and down like fucking 3 notes the whole time. And then with the country stuff, it's a lot of yeehaw, I'll tell you what, buddy. These other songs are me like singing, which is not something that I was in choir in high school and college, but I was like a baritone. So I had to do like I had to do all the parts that's like you don't really get. You get like theory knowledge out of it, but you don't really get to like sing lead.
Yeah,
you know? And
it's like, well, I'm gonna sing this pedal tone.
Yeah,
while everybody else moves above me.
These songs are me like showing like I know how to sing. I just don't like. I would rather pick a note and just like rap on a note and get like all angry and aggressive over a sick beat. You know what I mean? So these songs are like, nah, dude. Like I know how to John Mayer it up. You know
there you go.
Mean? But I'm not practiced enough. Like it's really tough for me, man, going up and playing guitar on stage because if I'm gonna go up and play drums, not condoning this behavior, but I could get 10 beers deep and I don't give a shit, dude. I'm not gonna mess up. I'm a professional drummer. I can play bass, and you know, it's like my theory is not all the way there, but like I'm pretty confident on the bass. When I get up on guitar, I realize I don't feel like the way I do when I play drums. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not bad. People are like, no, man, you're fucking great. Like, no, it's cool. But it's like I know what it feels like to go up and not have any nerves and like not give a damn about anything, dude. And that's how I feel when I play drums. It's like I can't mess up. Like that's stupid. Like how would I mess up? You know. But with guitar, it's like, oh, I hope I hit the right strings and like I hope I hit the right frets and like. So that's been tough. So I really want to book as many solo guitar gigs as I can this year. Like literally just to force myself to do it more to where I can feel that way. Like I can go up on stage and be like, I'm a guitar player. You know what I mean? Still don't hire me on guitar ever, bro.
Right, but you want to feel like as comfortable doing your stuff on the guitar as you do.
I mean, I had to play guitar after fucking Victor Agruda, bro.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
That's a tall ask of anybody, buddy.
That's like I didn't even realize I set myself up for that. And I was like, whatever, it's too late now. I'm just going to hold this D minor for 3 minutes and hit a little A for a second, but go back to the D minor. And it's like, whatever, dude.
Well, it was good, so don't worry
Thanks,
about it.
dude.
Yeah, Victor shreds, man.
Yeah,
Victor's
he's the Michael Jordan, dude. Victor's my Michael Jordan.
You know what I love about Victor is like he can do all the technical stuff, but like he always just plays exactly what needs to be there.
Yeah,
like he's
like the perfect human. Bro.
It's always like tasteful.
Yeah,
it's like holy shit, I wish I could play that, but also that was exactly how it should have gone.
I saw Calico Mantra at the Basement, I think it was last year, and they were playing the end of, it might have been Money for Dope. I don't know. It might have even been the song about the void, which, by the way, that song was the only song that I listened to for like 6 months. Like I don't listen to music because music's everywhere, so I listen to silence, honestly. But there was several months of my life where it's not Enter the Void. You know what song I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think it's called The Void.
Yeah. There was like several months of my life where if I was listening to music, I was listening to that song and then going back to silence. And like that was all I listened to. But there was a Basement show, dude, where, and I think this was before you arrived here, I walk in and they're at the end, they're at the outro of this Calico Mantra song, dude, and like Jacob's just going like boom 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 boom, like no fills, no, like literally just like hypnotherapy on bass, you know what I mean? And Max is being Max, and Victor hits this solo where like I told them after this, I was like, I want you all to know I'm a better fucking musician because of the 30 seconds that just happened to my life. But Victor hits this solo where he starts on one fret and he plays like one scale, and then he goes up a fret and he changes to a different scale, and then he goes up another fret, and he like every fret he changed like what style of music he was playing. And I was just like, it was amazing because I was able to perceive what he was doing. Like I saw him do it, and I know enough about shit to where I was like, okay. And then like halfway through, I'm like, God, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, it's I get it, but I'm never gonna be able to do that.
Well, then I realized like, dude, this whole time Jacob's just been over there like boom, 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 boom. And then all of a sudden, like as soon as I realized what Jacob's doing, Jacob and Max go into this. It was the very end of the song, and it was like this crazy syncopated, like everyone's on different accents and fills, and like if my mind wasn't already blown, dude, like I had a damn headache, and it was so humbling. And I saw after I like went up to all of them, just like give them a little dick suck, you know what I mean? Like, you guys are fucking so good, dude.
Yeah.
But that was like a moment of my life that I'll never forget. I think it was Money for Dope. I would have to just listen and I could find the song because it's the bass line from the actual recording. Everything else was just freestyle, you know?
Yeah, those guys are great, man. I've known those guys for like 10 years now.
Yeah.
And I mean, they were good when I met them.
Yeah.
And it's just been really cool watching each of those cats develop their own solo style, but then when they play together, like it's still...
Well, you know, the birthday party, my original plan was I wanted Jacob's band, Max's band, then Victor's band, and then I wanted Leo to come up and have the Power Rangers unite and become the Megazord that is fucking Calico Mantra, and that was going to be the entire opening segment. But it was either that Leo was going to be gone or Victor was going to be gone. And so it was like, all right, well, if I can have Victor's very first debut show ever... That's a win. So not only did I have Victor's first debut solo show, but I had Cheyenne's first like official fucking gig.
And dude, shout out to Cheyenne, man, because like for that to have been her first time ever playing the bass on stage in front of people, that was impressive, man. Like she held it down. She held that. She held that pocket right down.
It was
good.
It's been It's not really something that I like hold over people's heads, but I love knowing that like someone who's doing really well in life, like one of the steps of their journey, I got to like lift them up. You know what I mean? And it's like I got to be a part of something. Like I got to be a character in their story forever. You know what I mean? And like when Fresh Squeeze, Max, Victor, and Leo moved here, like I'm pretty sure that I was one of their first friends.
Yeah, Victor said that at the show. You were one of the first people that he met out here.
Yeah, and I don't know how many gigs it was, but like I know that right when they got here, I booked them probably like at least 3 times, and I got them like whatever show I could. I'm pretty sure my band played with them on their first show in town. I think I don't know if it was their first show. But I know that we played out at Kimbrough's in Franklin, like right when they moved here, dude.
Nice.
And that was cool. And like same for like Hippies and Cowboys, you know, like when Aaron first moved here, he was just Aaron Sparling, and I got that dude like 10 shows. I was the drummer that helped like Multi Ultra like become a working business before they got Christian. And like, dude, I mean, there's just been so many people that like I'm just so honored. Like I don't ever like remind them because it's like it doesn't mean anything, and it's not like I like expect anything out of it, but like it feels really like warm and cool to just be like, I remember when they weren't where they were and I was in the position to like help them get there, and it makes me feel like I was like a step in their success, which is really cool.
And I mean that, but like that was the vibe that I got from your show is like, yes, it's an opportunity for you, but it's like it makes it even more special when you know that you're helping like your friends out.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I wanted. I booked Dylan because he's like the Michael Jordan of country music in Nashville, in my opinion, for the local scene. I booked Victor because he's the Michael Jordan of rock and roll in the Nashville scene, and I booked Frederick Weathersby because he's the Michael Jordan of the hip hop, R&B, Motown, jazz community in Nashville. So it was like I got all the like titans of these three different genres, and the whole concept was like, if Dylan brings the country people out, and Victor brings the rock scene out, and Frederick brings like the hip hop community out, well, they're going to expose each other to crowds that they'll never get to play for. You know what I mean? And all three of them will get to be able to cross over and like just be a part of something that they would have otherwise probably never got booked for. But the reason I did that is because my music it's a little bit of Dylan, it's a little bit of Victor, and it's a little bit of Frederick.
Right.
You know? And so it was like, what do I do? Book a whole country show and then be like the one heavy band that's doing jazz, book a whole jazz hip hop show and be the one rock band, or book a rock show and be the one like acoustic country band. So it's like, fuck it, I'm gonna every flavor of ice cream that I have on my menu, I'm gonna book one band for each of that to where my set makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it worked perfectly like that, man.
Yeah. No, it was a great time, dude.
So like, I want to get into like, so what are some of your earliest memories of music?
Dude, my dad was gone a lot, and I hated music. I thought it was stupid, and I was young, and I didn't know any better. And my best friend Indy, and I rode the bus together. I've told this story 1,000 times, dude. Me and Indy rode the bus together, and we had a headphone splitter on his Walkman. That's how old I am.
Nice.
And dude, Black Sabbath, Paranoid, Electric Funeral, War Pigs, Paranoid, Caravan, Iron Man, you know, that made me give a fuck. There was something about it. And that year I started playing drums. I joined the school band, and my mom and dad got me a drum set for Christmas, and I found out that Indy's mom and dad got him a guitar for Christmas. So in 7th grade, we were 12 years old, we started a metal band called Underage.
Nice.
Because we were 12,
right,
and it was a metal band. And dude, we played the Halloween dance, and we sold like 30 demos that my dad like set one microphone up in our bedroom, and like it was cool, man. But that was when I was like, I like this. And then I didn't really like being in band for a while, and then as cliche and silly as it is, the movie Drumline came out. And
dude, love that movie.
Yeah.
I played drums in middle school, and like
I was people called me Nick Cannon, which was kind of dumb at the time, but like I saw that a drumline can entertain an audience, because at the time I was just concert band, dude. Like I was just
marches and shit,
and you know, little like cymbal rolls and like hitting the triangle and shit. And I was like, I'm gonna get picked on so hard. And then I saw that it was like, girls don't hate that. And like, you know, you're in your development phases. It's like an 11, 12, 13-year-old. And it's like, you are worried about shit like that. Like, are the cool kids going to pick on me? Or like, am I going to be, you know? And it was a thing, dude, where it was like, I don't want to be like the band geek. And then that movie came out, and it was like,
you can be cool and in band. Yeah.
And so my dad got me some like blank sheet music, and I started composing. And by the age of 16, because that was when I was like 13 or 14, by the age of 16, I was composing full ensembles, and my band director was letting me take the whole drum line, like the entire percussion, because he needed to work on woodwinds and brass, and we were all some delinquent little fuckers, dude. We would throw sticks up in the ceiling and make noises, and like rip the chimes off and throw them on the ground to just make noises, and like we were just bad kids, dude. So the thought of like, oh, we can get them the fuck out of here. Like, so I would take the whole percussion section of the auditorium, dude, and I would build these like ensembles, like little cadences, but I would choreograph it. And we started playing, like, instead of the halftime show where the whole band plays, we would do like after first quarter, the drum line would come out, and like, dude, after we did it like 3 times, man, like, literally the drum line could walk into the room, and like the whole school, bro, would like fucking stand up and like scream, bro. And like it got to the point where like people from other schools would see me and be like, dude, you're the fucking guy in Western Drumline. And all of a sudden, man, we started getting booked. Like the high school drum line started getting like gigs, like a fucking rock band, dude. Like I had nothing to do with school, and we started getting like paid gigs, which we couldn't keep the money. It went to the music program, you know what I mean? But did that, and that was like a main thing for me. And then like I said, really from there I started that band that ended up going to Warped Tour that I eventually got kicked out of.
So but at that time, so like you mentioned Sabbath, like in your early days, like as a kid, what were your favorite bands? Was it like heavier stuff?
Yeah, my innocence was broken by Corey Schwarzkopf. He was my bully, dude. He was like one of my best friends, and also like the like over looming sense of like, am I cool enough for Corey? You know, he was like that friend, you know? And dude, he got me into like Slipknot, Korn, Disturbed, Rob Zombie, Pantera, because Black Sabbath was what kind of took me there, you know what I mean? Like Marilyn Manson and like that whole era of metal where everyone was like a fucking character, dude. Everyone had their own thing. It was before metal got turned into like a bunch of subgenres where everyone's just riding the lowest string on the guitar. Like it was back when metal, like, I don't know. I mean, metal's cool now, but like a lot of it's just the same shit. And back then, but it's funny because I had like a metal phase, and like I kind of was like one of the only white kids in my neighborhood on the bus. And so I had fucking like cornrows and tall tees and shit, dude. And I got really heavy into rap music. So like that phase of my life when I was just getting into music was a lot of heavier stuff. Like my drum teacher was so pissed because I was like, dude, Joey Jordison has like 30 fucking drums on his drum set. And he was like, bro, you need 2 toms and a snare drum. Fuck all of that. And I was like, I'm getting 2 kick drums and 10 cymbals, and like I want 6 toms and 2 snare drums. And
I want my load in to take 2 days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he was like, it's stupid. And but yeah, like Joey Jordison and like Mike Portnoy and like a lot of those dudes were like my early, like I was really pumped for those dudes. One of my main influences that I never really realized until later was actually the Incubus drummer Jose Pasillas. I loved how he would really mix pocket with like embellishment, and the way that he did it was like, this was back before like gospel chops took over all of drumming in music. He had a really cool way of like playing like a simple pocket with like the gospel chop fill structure. And that was really cool. But then like later on when I started really like becoming like more of a professional drummer, I would say like I really started to sink into more of like Bill Ward, Black Sabbath, Mitch Mitchell from Hendrix, Keith Moon from The Who, and like people compare me a lot to Ginger Baker, which I never was really into Cream, but like that psychedelic wild animal style, fuck the pocket, I just want to play crazy shit on drums. Like that's really where like I finally like teed off my style. Always love like Buddy Rich, Gene Krupa, like that type of stuff. But when I first got into music, I was a metalhead for sure.
Okay.
That was kind of the vibe.
It was funny because all of those influences come out in like your stuff. They really like sincerely do. You know, people like I'm not just saying that, but like it really does. Talk to me about like funk, because I know that, because like especially on the Stick It to the Man record, there's like times where I'm like, okay, this sounds like Larry Graham.
Really?
You know?
Dude, honestly, man, I learned how to play bass from learning Rage Against the Machine riffs.
Okay.
And so because of that, I never learned how to leave the one, because they don't either. You know, they just stay in whatever key they're in.
Well, so did James Brown for the most part.
Dude,
so.
yeah, man, it's like that's all you need. And I mean, they're legends, dude. They're like my dads for real. But that was how I learned how to play music, was like those riffs, and that was my first interpretation of playing music. And so, like when I was playing bass, when I was learning melodies and like how to actually play, like not drums where I'm just hitting shit, you know what I mean? I think that they're very funky. I just always had like, I wanted to be percussive. Yeah, and I think that's all it is, man. Like I don't have a lot of funk influences. I didn't get into like
really
James Brown and all that shit until way later. I have probably zero that I can think of, man, like I don't think I have any funk or R&B influences that I can name. There's definitely like individual songs, individual videos, individual people that I saw once and I'll never forget it. You know what I mean? But like there's certain influences that like you don't know that they're influences. Like I'll tell anybody like Rage Against the Machine is my biggest influence ever. But then I've listened to my voice and I'm like, did I like subconsciously pick up Rob Zombie? Like the way that Rob Zombie sings is like the way that I sing. And like that was never intentional, but now I look back and I'm like, what if that's like where I got my voice was like Dragula and Never Gonna Stop and stuff like that, you know? But there are influences that it's like I didn't realize that was my influence, but it literally shaped like the way that I approach music. It's just like I would never really think to tell people that because I'm not like a huge Rob Zombie guy. I appreciate the shit out of him. I think he's a genius and I think everything he does is like crazy. He's like a true artist, you know? But it's like I don't think I would put his voice down on a list of my influences, but then I think about it and I'm like, what if he's like my biggest vocal influence ever, you know?
Yeah. I mean that I can see how that can happen to people, you know?
Yeah.
That's funny. I want to turn you on to some funk stuff that I feel like you would dig, given it's just so fun. It actually kind of blows my mind that like you're not like, oh yeah, Larry Graham and, you know.
Well, my dad is a bass player.
Right.
So he kind of taught me like the basics to slapping, like Flea.
Yeah.
That's probably it, dude. That's like really all I got.
Well, Flea would name like all of, you know, like all these other cats. That, like I grew up listening to funk. With my dad was really into the band Tower of Power.
Okay,
and
I mean, I'm familiar with all
like
the stuff,
Sly and the
dude.
Family Stone.
Yeah, all that music has really come out for me since moving here, and I've learned a lot about it. But like, the reason I play bass so funky is because I'm a drummer, and I think of bass as a drum set with more notes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just turned into the funk. But I don't. Well,
that's a nice surprise. It's so cool that like just came out organically like that.
Yeah.
Like that makes it even cooler.
That's awesome.
That you're not. Yeah, I learned everything that Larry Graham did.
Yeah. No.
It's
not
just
at
like
all.
no. I just that's how I approach instruments.
Yeah,
That's fucking cool, man.
I really can't think of any like funk artists that I grew up. I mean, like I said, my dad just played a lot of funky bass, so like I was just in my blood, I guess.
Nice.
But that's it. I can't think of anybody who I'm like, oh man, like I learned his licks or whatever, you know?
Yeah, in your Nashville Voyager thing, you mentioned that like you grew up in like a very religious setting and then kind of had like somewhat of a spiritual awakening thing where like you just kind of do you want to get into that at all?
Yeah. It's funny because when I read that article back, I wish I would have worded it different because it's like, oh, I walked away from my religious upbringing. What I really meant was the town that I was living in had a lot of the energy that you would expect from like a small religious town. Not everybody there is religious, but it's like, you know, there's not a lot of like crazy imagination and there's not a lot of like stimulation going on. Like there's a little bit, there's stuff to do, you know, but that was kind of more of what I meant was like I wanted to leave the Matrix, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I grew up like most of my family was preachers or church musicians. There's probably like 3 to 5 preachers in my immediate like family circle. I just always had a lot of questions. I always really liked science and I really liked asking why things were the way they were. And I would go to my family and just be like, hey, like, why is this? Like, do I get to take my favorite blankie to heaven? Like, I was like 5, dude. And I was like, is there a McDonald's play place in heaven? And like, I just had like the silliest questions. And then over time, like evolved into like more complex questions that like, my grandpa, he was a preacher, dude, and he would just like give me an answer that I was like, do you even like do you?
You're like, bro, if you don't know, just say I don't know.
It was just like, do you actually like? Do you really believe this? Like, have you ever questioned it, or like, were you just told to believe this and you just like just stayed in that lane your whole like I can't believe that someone's never like thought deeper about this stuff. And Indy, same dude I got into Black Sabbath with, dude, we go on walks and like we were like 12, dude, and he's like, bro, do you ever think like God's not real? And like at the time I was like, dude, no.
How could you say that?
No, I was like, I've never thought about it at all. We're fucking 12. What are you talking about? And then, but then it was like, you know what, man? Like, I've never experienced that. Like, it doesn't make sense. And then we would go back and forth. And I spent like middle school and high school just like rejecting it. And like, I was one of like, I think every high school has those like atheist science kids who are like, no, it's not real. And like, they want to have debates and stuff. I was one of those kids, dude. And
I had that in college because I really super hardcore believed in all of it until I was probably, I don't know, man, maybe like end of high school.
Yeah.
But like it is an interest. I asked because I feel like it has influenced the trajectory of my life.
Yeah.
And I just wondered if it was like,
huge. So after that, and this is why I still lived in Kokomo. This is why I wish I would have worded it differently. I always said, like, I don't have anything against the religion. Like, I don't have any, like, problem with it. I don't even necessarily, like, I'm not going to argue that, like, God is not a real thing. But what happened was, I always said, like, if I ever meet God or I have some sort of contact with God, you got me. Like, I'm hooked. But, like, until then, my life is not great. Like, I didn't really want anything to do with it because it's like, oh, you get blessings and you get this. And it's like, well, I kind of get shit on my whole life. So, like, I don't really like this. And honestly, man, like, there came a time where I started getting a little trippier. You know, I started experimenting with psychedelics and I started reading more, like, mythology and, like, getting really into, like, I was always into, like, worldly mythology. Like, I always thought it was so cool. But, man, there was... it literally is like the most important day of my life, dude. I was driving down the road and I just got in a fight with this chick that I was like kind of dating or whatever, and literally, man, in the snap of a finger, but with less than 1 second, I left Earth, and I wasn't like. I had a couple of drinks, but like I was just loosened up, you know what I mean? I wasn't high, I wasn't I wasn't tripping or anything. I was just driving to my buddy's house, just sad as fuck, dude. Like, why does my life suck? And in that 1 second, dude, I left this world for a week. Like I went and I met this like Bob Ross, Colonel Sanders looking dude who had an easel, and he was just like, look at what I made. And like on the easel was the universe. And he was just like, I made this and this is life. Like, I built this. And dude, he explained the way that it worked and how it worked and why it worked, and then segued in and was like, look, I built this character and I need you to play the character. And if you play it, like, give me 10 years, and after 10 years you'll get it. You know what I mean? But you gotta, like, now that you know I exist, you gotta hold up your end of the bargain like you said you would. You know what I mean? And so, snap back to reality, I'm still in my car and I'm just like it was real. Like, that wasn't shit. That it was like, what? And I've had more encounters with him over the years, but like it was like, there it is. You know what I mean? And from that point, dude, I started like getting more into the Bible. It wasn't, there was nothing about that experience that said you need to start going to church and being a Christian and like dress a certain way and start being like all the kids that you grew up with. It was more of like, whoa, I don't think any of those people have had an experience like this. I think they're just repeating phrases and verses that their preachers and parents like told them they had to. You know what I mean? And that's why so many people reject it, is because they don't experience it for themselves, and then they hear these people just regurgitating and copy and pasting, and it's like, it's really hard to get down with. But dude, from there, man, like I kind of just like weighed in on like Because that specific moment was like, you know how like when you do a locker, you have to go like you have to take it 3 directions. That's what happened to my brain, dude. I was thinking, why am I so sad? I was thinking of this little Asian lady, Suki, that I worked with at my job that I had, and she'd go, "Oh, you're sad? When I sad, I just sing about a Jesus. It makes me feel so good." And she said it just like that, dude. And then she, "Oh, Jesus," and like. I started thinking about it, and it's like, biologically, why does the human brain feel good when we worship God and when we sing about Jesus? And my dad and I had a conversation a couple weeks ago where, like, he was like, he's taking a psychology class in college, and he was like, the human brain has 3 parts, and he was like, this is like in a different context, but he was like, you've got your mental, your physical, and your spiritual, and your spiritual doesn't necessarily have to be a religion. There's a part of your brain that just has a belief system, and everyone's is different, but like whatever your religion is like an entire chunk of your brain. And so I started thinking about that. I started thinking about Suki, and I started thinking about like, why is my life so shitty? And like all 3 of those thoughts just like met each other at like an intersection in my brain and just like exploded. And then that's why I like went to that other world, you know what I mean? And dude, literally every question I ever had was answered. Like it was fucked up because I like knew everything after that. Like I literally like got the code to the universe, and like every bad thing that ever happened to me was fully explained. And it was like, I get it now. I have no complaints. Like, I understand everything. And I've gone a little crazy since then because it's like I see the world differently now. And so I went 2 months, and I just thought, whoa, like, this is real. Like, it's real. God's real. Like, I've definitely been talking a lot of shit about God for like the past like 5 years of my life, and I'm gonna have to chill on that. You know what I mean? So I started getting more into the Bible. I sort of started dabbling a little bit more in like some psychedelic vacations, you know, and I had one specific experience that was like, it confirmed any like doubt that I still had. Because when you have an experience like that, you're like, was that real? You know what I mean? And so I had like a little psychedelic experience that was like, bro, it's real. Like, this is life. This is what you saw was what it is, and everything that you're seeing now is not real. Where you went in that 1 second and were transported is what was real, and all of this shit is just an illusion. And so from there, man, I got like a Buddhist guru who started teaching me about like meditation. I started diving into like some Hinduism. I started reading the Bible a lot and like reading the gospel and just like asking different preachers like where should I go? Like what should I read, you know? Went to college, took a biblical interpretations class, took a religion class. And then a little after that, man, was when I moved to Nashville. And from there, like I sort of like went off of that, and I mean, dude, I got more into like mythology, and then from there I'm probably forgetting some stuff, but I ended up from the Eastern stuff, like I ended up diving into like some Taoism, and then I got really into like Egyptian desert culture and like discovered like alchemy and hermetics. That led me to like the Jewish system of Kabbalah. Also, yeah, the thing I forgot was like Islam. Like I started learning a lot about Islam. I had a roommate in college named Maher, and he was from Saudi Arabia, and he had only been speaking English for less than a year. So like I was like literally this motherfucker's translator, dude. And that dude was the purest human I've ever met in my life. What Christian people think that they're trying to do was this Muslim dude. Like, I mean, like, I literally accidentally walked in on him one time praying, and I was like, hey, man, when I started talking to him, and like, he was just like connected with the Lord, bro. Like, he was not budging, dude. And he like came out of his room and explained to me like why he couldn't break his prayer and everything. And like, dude would fall asleep to the Quran at night, and him and I would just sit for hours, and like, I would tell him about the Bible, and he would tell me about the Quran, and we would just like, just learn, you know what I mean? But then I got here, and I really do like, I think the key is whether it's good or bad, whatever you think is right and wrong, I mean, it's healthy to know your enemy. And I honestly, I just don't like judging things, man. So like, from that point, like I was like, you know, what are like the dark arts about? Like what's up with magic? What's up with Wicca and like astrology and divination and like tarot? Which then led me to like what's up with like Luciferianism? What's up with Satanism? And like probably don't do that. But like, you know what I mean? It's like
just in case.
There it's not what you think it is. It's like and so that sort of taught me like you can't just believe what the world says about something. Like because if you talk to like the Satanist, man, like they're not like, yeah, we want to kill and
no,
lust
it's
and,
more like just like it. I don't want to say tongue in cheek, but it's like secular humanism,
right?
But with like this,
they're not literally worshiping the enemy of God. You know what I mean? It's like there's like a whole other thing, and like the reason they even picked Satan in the first place was it was like a way of protesting Christian government authority. You know what I mean? It's like they're not even necessarily protesting God as much as they're protesting like the wicked ways of
like theocracy.
Of the way that like the church has just like slaughtered a bunch of people. You know what I mean? And that has nothing to do with Jesus. And I think that's why Christianity has so many people rejecting it, is because they see what's been done in the name of God and they're like, I don't like that. And it's like, bro, that has nothing to do with God. Those are evil fucking pieces of shit that are hijacking the name, they're hijacking the Bible, they're hijacking Jesus's face, and they're doing the exact opposite of what they should be doing with it. And you're letting that association rule over your judgment, and you're wrong. You know what I mean? It's like that's not what it's about. But dude, I mean, from there, you know, lots of science, lots of psychology, lots of biology, like Einstein theory of relativity, that's huge. That's almost like a religion in itself, you know. Metaphysics, sacred geometry, like I wouldn't pinpoint any, but honestly, man, I've dabbled in like witchcraft, and I've dabbled in all of it, and I think I circled back around to a certain point where I would say like Christ is king. There's a reason Jesus is God. You know what I'm saying? It's like I get it. It's like a mathematical equation in my brain that I totally, when people are like, Christ is Lord and the Lord is our God. It's like a geometric proof. You know what I mean? But it's like I've been through enough of these phases where like what I really believe, man, is like I think Thor is the god of thunder, but I think Thor is well aware that Jesus is king. I think that, you know, Shakti and Shiva are like names that we gave the womb and the structure of the universe, but like they know Christ is king. You know, Buddha was the enlightened one, but like he knew that Christ would come and take the throne. And I think Zeus can throw all the lightning bolts he wants, and Zeus is badass, and that's like a cool thing that I love. But like every one of these gods and every one of their people and every one of their countries who have ever tried to stand up to Jesus had to learn the hard way that like the steel of Christ is sharper. You know what I mean? It's like nobody's ever beat Jesus. You know what I mean? And so I stick by that, and I think I definitely am super flawed as like I would never call myself a Christian because I don't think I deserve the title, and I also don't want anything to do with the association that people think Christianity is. I definitely think that Jesus is like the best teacher that's ever lived. He taught you like the Sermon on the Mount and everything. It's like that's really all you need to know. But I think it's like the same thing as like if you really like Jimi Hendrix, you should probably check out every one of his albums. You should probably check out every one of his influences, and you should probably check out all of his friends and all the bands that were alive at the time. And so for me, it's like I like the Bible and I like Jesus so much that like teach me about Buddha, teach me about Muhammad, teach me about like all these other figures that have a similar emulation to what he has. You know what I mean? And I think my problem with Christianity is that the fundamentalists hate that. They think that Jesus is the way and the only way, which is true. But that's in a very metaphysical context that is not saying it's not saying don't listen to other people from other religions that speak other languages that had their own encounters with God and wrote about it in a different fucking language that is obviously going to have different names and obviously going to have different interpretations because they live in a different geographical format, and they live in different climate structures, and they live with different like social structure and financial structure, and it's like that society is going to perceive God completely differently. You know what I mean? And so my beef with like a lot of like modern Christianity is just like, bro, like y'all are so quick to be like, that's the devil, that's the devil, that's the devil, that's the devil. And it's like y'all are burning a witch in the name of a dude who got burned because people thought he was a witch. Like, fuck off. That's stupid.
Yeah.
You know? I think Jesus was rock and roll, dude. I think he went around with his homies. I think he had chicks following him everywhere he went. I think he went up on stage and spoke to thousands of people, and he went on tour. I think he rebelled against the system. And I think, like, the same thing that happened to Morrison, Lennon, Hendrix, Joplin, Cobain, he got popped. You know what I mean? He was rocking and rolling too hard. Not saying he was doing drugs and he was partying, but like he was a humanitarian revolutionary who was going against the grain of what modern religious structure said. And I believe that if Jesus comes back, because the Jewish people at the time were mad because they expected Eli. They thought Eli was coming back as the Eli from the scripture. So Jesus shows up and they're like, you don't look like Eli. You don't sound like Eli. There's no way. You're a liar. Like, you're the Antichrist. You're the devil pretending to be God. And so now the Christians are like, well, someone's going to show up one day and they're going to pretend to be God, and they're going to look just like God, and they're going to be just like Jesus, and they're going to accomplish miracles and heal people and solve all the world's problems. We got to kill them. And I'm like, don't get me wrong, bro. Like, Bill Gates, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are people that's like, that could damn near be the Antichrist. Like, I believe that. But at the same time, I also worry that, like, what if it's a trap? Like, I genuinely think, like, Jesus was to the Jews as, whoever or whatever the second coming may be will be to the Christians. They're the modern religion now that thinks that they know Jesus, and they don't. They're just listening to their government. They think that they know what Christ is going to be like because it said so in the books, which is what the Jews said about Jesus because it said so in the books that Eli was coming back. You know what I mean? And so I get it, and I think that you should abide by the scripture, and I think it is, the basic instructions before leaving Earth. Like, it's the best user's manual of what we call life. But I think the book is about God. The book is a secondary element about God that is the primary element. And if you don't know the primary element and you based your entire life off the secondary element, I don't trust you. I don't believe anything that you say. I'll talk to you, but like, you don't know. You know what I mean? Your parents told you had to do this. You're afraid of hell, and you want the fast pass to Disney World after you die, and like that's all that's in it for you. If you haven't,
that's a very interesting way to put it.
Well, if you haven't fallen in love with God so much that you want more than the 66 canon books, like you want to know about the non-canonicals, you want to go read the Gospel of Thomas and the Gospel of Mary because you crave it. Like you love Jimi Hendrix so much that you want to find his demos. You want to find the videos and the songs that were never released. You want to know, like, you want his documentary, you want his DVDs, you want his book, you want his biography. Like, if you really love Jesus, bro, how you going to just like take the bare minimum and be like, this is all I need? Like, sorry, man. Like, I want to know more. Like, I want to dive into the Dead Sea Scrolls. I want to, like, you know who William Tyndale is? Like, I want to know about that. I want to know, like, what the hell was King James doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's my vibe. And my problem is, man, when I go to church or I talk to Christians, I'll go off on this stuff. They don't give a fuck about Jesus, dude. They are so blind, bro. It upsets me, bro. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you are such a bare minimum little poser. It's like wearing a Nirvana shirt and you're like, name 3 songs. You know what I mean? And it's like, you literally don't care. You don't know how to care. they get scared when I'm like, have you ever heard of the non-canonicals? Have you ever dove into this? Have you ever got into like the Dead Sea Scrolls? And like, what's the Dead Sea Scrolls? I was like, I'm not judging them, but it's like you people are judging everybody for not knowing Jesus, and then here you are, and you can't name 3 songs.
Yeah, name 3 songs. I think there is the element of fear that comes from the dogmatic approach that we often encounter, because like I didn't want to question things because
you're gonna burn
when you're told from the time that you're 5 like that. I mean, it's almost like, and look, this is like a generational thing that gets passed down, so it's like it's hard to blame I'm not going to blame like my parents or like their parents,
right?
But what I'm saying is like I empathize with people who are stuck in that, because I was at one point, and that's just like, I think it's almost like a luck of the draw that you get the right people in your life or the right circumstances that you can find a way out of that.
Your brain even can comprehend asking a question about it, because most people are just like, oh, well, my parents told me this, so that must be true, and they go their whole lives just being like, that's it. My problem with it is like, it sucks because they are not allowed to go outside of those beliefs. They're not allowed to realize that Buddha said 80% of Jesus' teachings 500 years before Jesus said it. He just wasn't the king. He was a monk, and that's cool. Jesus was a monk, but he was a king monk. He's the king monk. You know what I mean? So it's like they don't ever get to know that. If you start talking about enlightenment and Buddha, they're like, "Oh, that's devil talking," and it's like, you're an idiot, dude. You have no respect for the divine. You don't have any craving for the one true God. Like, you are so afraid of hell that it's not real, dude. And that's like, it makes me so mad because it's a slave religion. Like, Jesus was a real teacher. The gospel's real. All of that is the best thing that can happen to you. But what it's been used for is chains. I mean, it's just got all these people chained up. But I will also play devil's advocate. I think people that stick to that life, typically, man, I mean, I get it because they're safer and they're purer and they live a more wholesome life. I like the prodigal son, dude. I like the path of Jacob. I like the idea of going astray and coming back home to realize why. Because those people, it's like you can leave Christianity and come back and be a super Christian because you get it, or you can just grow up saying yes, 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 and never even understand why you believe what you believe. And I honestly think going off the path and coming back, number one, was what 90% of the characters that matter in the Bible did, first off. But it's also like, it's just so important because I can talk to any Muslim about Jesus and I can change their mind. I can talk to an atheist and I can change their mind. And that's why, like, that's one thing that God told me when I met him. He was like, I needed you to go be an atheist and learn the questions, learn the arguments, learn the debate tactics, learn everything about what these people are saying about me that makes me not real. And now that you know, you already know, like, you get it. You know what I mean? It's like those questions won't work on you the way that they work on, like, all the preachers on TV that are like, well, you just gotta have faith. It's like, nah, son, like, I can explain all of it. Like, I can literally, like, translate every aspect of, like, why things are the way they are. And I don't know, that's kind of a broad overgeneralization, but you know what I mean? This is a big thing. I'm having trouble like staying on where my train of thought is.
No, this is good. This is
where was I at? Didn't even smoke weed. I haven't smoked weed. Today's like almost 170 days. No smoking weed.
No, man. Like I wouldn't call myself a religious person, but I think that I think just getting older and having more life experience, if you're paying attention, you should become more open-minded than closed-minded. And I think that's what my journey has been, is like, I went through my angry atheist phase. I would call myself an agnostic more now, because it's just like, unless you have a personal experience like you're talking about having,
Right.
I don't think that you can claim to know anything.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I've never had that kind of mystical experience
Yeah.
that I've been like, well, that I've never had the revelation. So like, but I've experienced some weird stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I've experienced spooky things, just not like. And so now I'm a lot more willing than when I was like, I'll be 35 this year. When I was 25, I'd be like, nah, it's all bullshit. But like now I'm like,
Yeah.
eh.
Well, I think everybody's different. I think that part of God's creation is that whatever you believe will be true. That's how the projection works. That's how they call. I mean, some people call it the law of attraction. Some people call it the placebo effect. But I think if you believe there's no God, you're going to live a life where you never see God.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a Christian and you believe that Jesus is going to help you and you fully believe it, then Jesus is going to help you. If you are a Satanist, dude, and you believe that like you can sell your soul to the devil and he's going to give you what you want, it's going to happen. I think it's all real. I think it's all true. Witchcraft is real. It's 100,000% like actual some Harry Potter shit. We're just so non-developed as a society. Really, what's happening, man, is all of our leaders are using all the spiritual powers that humanity was born with, and they're using it to control us. And then they're telling us that all these things are satanic and demonic and not to touch them. That way we can't ever discover like our true power. Don't get me wrong. Some of it's satanic. Some of it, demons are real. Like that's a whole thing. But a lot of these things are looked down upon by the slave religion because the leaders are practicing it. I mean, it's like you can literally like you see Christians are like, oh, the third eye, that's devil talk. There's literally like pineal glands and pine cones all over the Vatican, dude. And it's like they know about it. You talk about aliens and they're like, oh, aliens, angels, demons, dude. It's like sacred geometry. All of the like there are so many symbols that these like the pentagram. The pentagram was an early like Orthodox Christian symbol.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, like the leaders, dude, they just took all the good stuff for themselves. And then we're like, we're going to control this and we're going to tell everyone that it's evil. Meanwhile, the kings and the popes, they're still doing it, dude. Like they've got the kings and popes have like astrologers and tarot readers and like spellcasters and sorcerers. Like it's always been a thing. I mean, dude, like even modern politicians have it. Like they all those governments, dude, they have like big businesses, you know, like at the very tippity top, like they have like spiritual advisors and stuff like that, which are just like a modern way of interpreting like a witch, you know what I mean? But like it's all real, dude. I mean, you have to tap into it. It gets a little hazy, and that's why I can also sort of empathize with like the fundamentalist thing, is because you mess around with that stuff too much, what happens is you open up the gates between this world and the next. And as a human, you don't it takes a lot of practice and understanding to control what goes in and out of the gates. So when you open up the other side, demons can just like slip through the cracks, and like you can't do anything about it. Like you don't know what you're doing. And so when a lot of people are dabbling in like witchcraft and stuff because they think it's cool to be a little goth chick and listen to Marilyn Manson, like they don't realize the demons that they're bringing into their life and destroying them. You know what I mean? But like lighting candles, herbalism, you know, like basic element, like elemental magic is as simple as like I said, like light a candle, drink some water, plant a seed, and open your window. You got air, fire, earth, and water right there in a practical use, and they have very magical elements. Like those are the four elements, but the four elements of magic are the sword, the wand, the pinnacle, and the cup. And we destroy with the sword, we create with the wand, we retain with the cup, and we redeem with the coin and the pentacle. And those are the four elements of humanity. Like that's what humans do. We destroy, we create, we redeem, and we retain. And those are the four elements on the tarot cards. You know what I mean? And it's like magic isn't all abracadabra, avada, whatever. You know what I mean? It's like there are so many practical, like casting a spell is as simple as like if you're stressed out, open the window, change the vibe up, clean your room.
That's
a
interesting.
spell.
It's so funny because it's like it's an interesting way of thinking about it. Because I mean, well, So in a way, it's like all of those things that you're talking about are practically doing a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
Just they're being interpreted and presented in a different way.
Well, what I'm talking about is like the kindergarten level stuff. But like, think about it. It's like say you're at dinner with your lady, you're just eating dinner. You light a candle. Now you're on a date. It's like a ceremony. You know what I mean? So it's like lighting candles automatically ritualizes whatever you're doing. You're dry and your brain hurts and like you're not having a good time. Drink some water. It's the magic potion, dude. You know what I mean? Plant a seed. You're creating life. That's magic, dude. Like, I don't give a fuck. The Bible is the most powerful spell book ever. You know what I mean? But there's dark magic and there's light magic, man, and there's like neutral magic and all that stuff. And it's like I don't claim to be like an expert on that stuff, but like I have dabbled on all the different surface levels. I've practiced it. I have gotten results out of it. I know how it works. It really enlightened me on like a lot of the stuff that's going on right now in the government, and like it's not something that's like a conspiracy theory. It's like if you know how this works and then you see that, you're like, oh, they're doing that. You know what I mean? And it's like another thing is like there's a price to pay for everything. So what in like witchcraft and like magic and stuff, some of the things that have value that you can trade are different life essences. You can do something as simple as burning something and lighting a fire. That's ritualistic enough. But like, in the coming of Christ actually nullified all of this in the spiritual realm where you don't have to do this. You just have to set your intention. But speaking of Old Testament philosophy, blood, purity, life, like an arm, a leg, like an eye, whatever. There's a reason that animals and like humans are sacrificed. Children have purity, dude. It's like it sounds like really fucked up to talk about, but it's like that's why this shit is happening, dude. Children have purity, and there's a literal life essence in a child where they haven't been destroyed and corrupted, where like there is magical juju mojo in every child of like their imagination still runs wild, and that is valuable to the spiritual realm. You know what I mean? And that's why you hear a lot about like all this weird like shit that's going on, dude. Is like you can trade in like all this witchcraft stuff, man. Like there's value in blood. There's value in like human fluids. There's value in like life force and life essence. That doesn't, in a pragmatic sense of like being a realist on Earth, it's awesome, silly hocus pocus bullshit. But like the way that magic works, man, you have to tap all the way into it and you have to believe it, and that opens this whole door where sure the rest of the world might perceive you as like low key kind of schizophrenic, but like when you see it, you're like, oh fuck, like everyone's missing out. Like no one has a clue that like this is real. You know what I mean? But like I said, dude, you got to be careful. Honestly, most of the people that are like super deep into that shit are all kind of weirdos. Unfortunately, bro, like they're just some weird dudes, man. But it is so. It's like I think a good segue into stuff like that without diving into full Harry Potter mode is like look at like Freud and Jung, dude. Like look into like subconscious psychology and archetypes and like dreams and dream waves, and like that is enough to like if you're a realist and you're more of an intellectual and you don't want to believe in like superstition and stuff, like start there and realize that the very fact that the placebo effect is a thing should be enough of a little nugget for you to realize like, I mean,
there's something more powerful than just like physical.
Yeah, like the universe around you is literally it's reacting. You're pressing buttons with every thought and with every word and with every action, and you're literally people are like, oh, is the world flat or is it round? And everyone's fucking arguing over it, even though they've never been to space, and like no one really knows. You know what I mean? I think the real truth is like the actual fundamental basis code of reality is it's a projector. It's reacting to your cockpit, and you're designing all of it, and you're projecting all of it. And the earth is literally whatever you see in front of you and whatever develops through your actions and the life that you live. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Dude, that's funny because all of these things come across like in your music.
Good. Yeah, I don't like to get religious. I did write a gospel song for the first time last year. But I would say like half my lyrics are biblical without being Christian. Like I use a lot of principles. I use a lot of scripture. I use a lot of like angels and demons and like mythology. Kind of like how metal uses a lot of like Viking mythology. I like to use a lot of like Christian mythology and just sneak it in there. Like the way that I want to do, man, is like I want to be a mediator between believers and non-believers. I don't want to knock on your door and shove it down your throat. I want to give you some lyrics that will relate to you, but also will turn your head like towards divinity. You know what I mean? And just like sneak it into your subconscious a little bit and like sort of, I mean, it's like manipulative, like in a positive way though, you know what I mean? Like sort of like giving them lyrics about angels and giving them lyrics about like turning your life around and like salvation and redemption and stuff like that, and like letting God do that work, you know what I mean? But like giving them a little taste of it, you know what I mean? Without fully being like, oh Jesus, you are my God, like,
Well, I mean,
you know,
I feel like that's always a better approach.
yeah.
You know, you want people to come across the theme of, like you said, redemption and salvation.
Yeah.
Because honestly, man, those things are like grace and mercy and empathy are universally positive things.
Yeah, but then they get, and that's what sucks is those things get synonymous with religion. And once that happens, dude, everyone's like, "Oh, that sounds like Jesus talk."
Right.
And it's like,
and it doesn't have
mess,
to. Well,
dude.
You basically, like, you know, Jesus, I feel like, was, like you said, a humanitarian who was out to like genuinely serve the people that he was around.
I mean, he was in a certain right overthrowing everything. And he wasn't like going out and taking over the government, but there was a lot of Boston Tea Party shit happening just for him talking. I mean, back then, you know,
I mean, when he went into the synagogue and like literally like stormed
and
it
was like, y'all don't know
tables.
shit. Yeah,
it was like you're using this holy place for your own purposes.
And I mean, it's still happening today, dude. And that's why I think like people are like, oh, when Jesus comes back, he's gonna come from the sky, and I'm like, so aliens? And they're like, oh, aliens aren't real. Oh, so like angels and demons from heaven were real, but aliens from the sky aren't real. Like, shut up, dude. But it's like, I honestly feel like, you know, like when you look in history, like I in high school, like one of the huge things for me was that Zeitgeist documentary. Did you ever see that? They talk about how Jesus is just like a regurgitation of like a zodiac pattern in astrology and astronomy, actually, and how, like, you know, the sun rises for 3 days in the winter and dies on December 25th, and like the equinox, and like basically just saying like there's 12 points in the zodiac, and like he had 12 disciples, and like basically what they go into is every single culture in history all over the world all had a Jesus with the same story, which I think was an exaggeration. But in this documentary, in this documentary, what they say is, well, every single society on the history of Earth that all had different geographical locations all had a Jesus. So therefore, it can't be real. And I'm just like, they didn't have any communication, and they all believed in the same thing, and they all existed at different time periods. I feel like that makes it real. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like that.
I feel like it proves the universality of the messaging.
Yeah, the synchronicity and just like the code of the universe that essentially like presents itself through this like common theme. Like Joseph Campbell, dude, good author. He wrote this book called The Power of Myth or Power of Mythology. It's a really non-religious, like philosophical, psychological, just like explanation of like what religion has done for humanity and like why it's a good thing to believe in something. But I think there's like there's archetypes, dude, and I think Jesus is like the archetype of like pure essence and like being good and overcoming and victory and winning and championship and being king. You know what I mean? Like he is the science of kingship, you know?
What's funny though is like not in the sense of like
Yeah, not political.
of authoritarianism. But
Yeah, because
in the sense of
that's
like
not real anyways.
being a steward
That's
of
just the real kings, dude, are the ones that can get people to listen to them and want to follow them. That's a king. Someone who has to force you, that's a dictator. And they can call it whatever they want. But if you took power and you have to use weapons to control people, that's not real. But if you can just walk around in your sandals all day talking about God, and now the next 2,000 years people are swearing by your name, that's a king. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I don't know.
That's funny, man. I've never really thought about it that exact way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think, well, here's the unfortunate part is that during antiquity there were people with weapons.
Yeah.
Kind of
I mean, people were slaughtering people in the name of the most peaceful dude who ever lived.
Yeah.
And it's like,
so
that's not real.
Yeah.
What's really crazy to me, bro, and it goes back to the witchcraft thing, is like you start diving into more spirituality, and they want to call it New Age, even though everything you consider New Age was around before Christianity. And when Jesus started talking about the New Age religions and how there's going to be this new bullshit religion that takes over the world and everyone's going to fall for it, Christianity didn't exist until right after that. Everything that we're calling New Age today was the belief system of like everyone, because people were more connected to nature back then. You know what I mean? But when you look at it and you start diving into stuff like Reiki healing people with your hands, what's that? I mean, what was Jesus doing? You know what I mean? And like you start looking into like transfiguration and transmutation and like alchemy and like, dude, if someone did Jesus's miracles today, burn the witch. Blasphemy. He's a heretic. He's worshiping Satanism. He's evil. That's not that goes against Christ. And like literally, bro, everything that Jesus was doing in terms of miracles is something that in today's world is prescribed. That if you start going down that hole of like, bro, Reiki's real. Like you can heal someone and you can take their trauma out by like passing energy from one body to the next and like absorbing it. And like exorcisms are real. Like getting demons out of people is real. Communicating with the dead, real. Like all that shit. Like you gotta really dive in to like make logical sense of it. But dude, everything that Jesus was doing today, Christians will call that satanic. They won't call Jesus doing it satanic. But if you start learning how to do miracles and heal people with your hands in the name of faith and goodwill, you're a New Age Satanist. And it's like, it's crazy when you look at like the Salem witch trials. And these dudes, in the name of Jesus, are burning people at the stake, which is the cousin of crucifying someone.
The bummer of that is how many of the people like who are involved were just actually making up the stories.
Yeah, you seen 3 Solves for Sarah?
Yeah.
Dude, too many screaming girls in that movie. Hated
Yeah.
it. But real. I mean, I've actually read into like the whole story of like what was going on in Salem at the time, and I've heard a lot of different theories. I think a lot of it was exaggerated or changed. But it's sad. It's sad to see like paganism just so vilified when all they really did was like give a personality to the forest, give a personality to the wind, and give a personality to the rain, and give a personality to the thunder. And they're trying to communicate. I mean, the African pantheon, the Egyptian pantheon, the Greeks, the Norse, like they personified all the different like essences of life, and they wanted to communicate with it, and they found a way to talk to the thunder. And like, we think that's stupid today because we're not tapped into it, and there's not enough like general evidence of like this is real, like this works. But back then, when they didn't have all this excess external stimulation, they figured out like, you know, if we do this, this, and this, we can create like a harvest, you know, like we can, if we give to the gods, they give back. And all that really is like, you know, if you water your plants, they grow, you know what I mean? And we've twisted and turned that around to where now like the slave religions, like they hate it. And it's like, they hate Thor and Odin, but like, Odin is the all-seeing all-father of everything, and his son is Thor, who comes and fights against evil in the name of his father. And Christians hate that. And what's funny is the Vikings hated Christians, and they're both just stupid, dude. Like, if you ever watch like a Viking movie, bro, like, because most of the Viking story was they're trying to raid England. So you see like this dumb group of Neanderthals worshiping a father and a son, fighting against this dumb group of Neanderthals worshiping a father and a son, and they're both like, your religion is the devil. You're evil.
Wrong father and son.
Yeah, and then finally, like, a couple of them are like, have you ever thought about, like, how both of our religions are, like, kind of the same? And that guy dies. Like, they're like, oh, you're insane. Like, that's evil. My mom will kill me if she hears you talking about, you know? And it's like, dude, it's just like other than music, man. Like everything we're talking about right now is like that's where my mind's at. Like if I could,
I can tell that like you are like genuinely a student of it all.
It's always on my mind. Like it was a problem in my hometown, man, because I was like the dude who was too deep, and that's why I love Nashville. Is you can have this conversation in the fucking grocery store, and everyone here is a superhuman. Whereas back home, you start doing this, you're giving people headaches. They think you're a nerd. They think you're weird. They think you're too deep. They think, you know, and thankfully 10 years later, you know, they're all exactly where they were, and I've built the life that I want for myself. So it's like I would say that I'm right, and I would say that they're full of shit. You know what I mean? But
well, I mean, I think I don't know, man. There's just
people are different for a reason.
I know. Yeah,
we can't all be a wizard.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know a lot of like well-intentioned people who are not living up to their potential.
Yeah,
because they're scared of these kinds of conversations and being around people who are willing to have them.
So that's one personality. I think what I'm referring to is the people that judge you and put you down and say, you know,
I'm not saying they're being weird. They're not mutually exclusive.
Well, they can be. They've been diagrammed for sure.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I was trying to be nice.
Yeah,
but yes, a lot of those people also are those.
Yeah,
people.
and I got shit on a lot. Like when I was back in Kokomo, man. I mean, there was just a lot of people who were like, shut up. Like, who is this guy? You think you're a know-it-all? You're weird. You're on drugs. You're too high. You're crazy. And like, now I move here, and everyone who's happy, everyone who's not addicted to hard drugs, everyone who has full control over their lives, living their dreams, super pumped about life, 10 times better quality of life. This is small talk. You know what I mean?
I've noticed the people who are here, like, hustling and doing the thing, and seem happy, like it's partially because they've gone down these rabbit holes. Like you have to. There is an odd assurance in questioning everything. Isn't that weird?
No,
like when
it's
you
really funny, man.
Go through all this shit and you're like, yeah, and like I said, I still am like kind of up in the air. I mean, I agree with a lot of the things that you're saying for sure, and I think especially the archetype thing that like we're all seeking this greater power that can somehow implant empathy and connection.
I think to bounce off what you're saying, I would almost argue, at least in step one of trying to like digest Jesus, what Jesus represents and teaches is way more important than was he a real person and should I worship him? I think that will come with time. But what's really important is what he embodies and what he personifies and what he can do for you, not as like this religious figure, but like his archetype. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not like in the terms of what is the eternal reward for me,
Yes.
but what can I as a being interacting with other beings
Yeah.
learn from this person,
Yeah.
you know? What can I learn from what can I learn from this person that is going to make me a more positive
Yeah.
impact on people around me?
Yeah, he kind of, you know, I mean, I've definitely read a lot of, like the very first page of the Witch's Bible, or the first like chapter of the Witch's Bible, explained God better than every part of the Christian Bible ever. And then it gets weird. You open up chapter 2 and you're like, all right, I'm gonna put this down. But chapter 1, bro, was like, God's real. You know what I mean? It's like you read that, and it's a lot of like, you know, the birds fly south for the winter. It gets cold, it gets hot. The moon comes up, sun comes up. Like, we're on a revolving, like, automatic sequence, and we live in a simulation. Like, that's what the first chapter of this book was. Dude, Kabbalah, like this ancient Jewish science, changed my life. Probably more than any religion has. Hermetics, dude, is like the coolest, like, ancient wisdom. It's like ancient Egyptian. It's a lot about the polarity and like the black and white and the left and right and the up and downs of life, and just how we're on like a roller coaster, and how everything is like based on like polarity and gender and like this and that and that and this, and how to navigate and control and master, which is very similar to Taoism if you ever get into that. But like all that stuff, dude, has done. Like, I think once again, dude, like, Jesus is king, and if all you have is Jesus, you're gonna do well. But like, man, I mean, there is like, it's not that the water is or it's not that the glass is half empty or half full. It's like there's room for more water. You know what I mean? You don't need more water. I mean, I think if you go your whole life with only having Jesus, like, you're good, you know? But dude, I mean, there's some other really, really cool stuff out there that a lot of the ancient stuff, you read it and you're like, yo, Jesus definitely read this. Like, this is what he was talking about. Like, on his journey, he was either influenced or had a common mind. Like, either, like Buddha, for example. It's like Jesus either learned from Buddha's texts or figured out the exact same shit that Buddha figured out. You know what I mean? And that's happened to me before, dude. I mean, I invented the double stuffed Oreo. I don't know how the fuck somebody else came up with it and put it out, but like, dude, I had 2 Oreos and I was like, what if I... And I was like, holy shit, like, I need a lawyer. I was like 4 years old, dude, and I was like, I gotta fucking call a lawyer and shit.
And then you saw it in a package, and you were like, that's IP theft right there.
Fucking need to sue immediately. Yeah. But you know, I think a lot of these like gurus of time that represent religions, man, it's like the farther that you go down your own rabbit hole, all of a sudden, like, the things that Jesus said and the things that Buddha said, they're not my teacher handing this down to me. They're like, oh yeah, I've seen that. Like, you're talking about that thing that I experienced for myself. So it makes 1,000 more times more sense when you can read these books having discovered and seen like what it's talking about, rather than just regurgitating the phrase, you know? And then all of a sudden you start reading like the teachings of Jesus and the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus and Buddha and like all these things, and you're like, yo, like, they saw the thing. Like, they saw the same shit I saw. You know what I mean? But they put their cell phone down and just focused on it their whole life. You know what I mean? And a lot of these people are copying and pasting from books that they read. But like I said, dude, a lot of people are seeing the truth and they're writing about it. And then another dude's seeing the truth and he's writing about it. And that's why when you see it, you're like, oh, were they copying off each other? No, it was true. And they both discovered the truth. You know what I mean?
Right on, man. Okay. Yeah. We're at like 2 hours and 15 minutes. I want to do like a little like lightning round, so to speak.
Okay.
That I've done with all of my like artist guests so far.
Okay.
If you could collab with one musician, dead or alive,
Oh my
What would that
God,
be?
dude.
Dream collab, dead or alive?
Dude, I don't even. Holy shit.
What is like your gut? What is like top of mind right now?
Like, I hope that I have enough notoriety to. I want Ozzy Osbourne to know that I'm alive before I die. I want to work with Tom Morello, Jack White. Like,
Yeah,
I want like a
Jack.
song with those dudes. That would mean a lot to me. I don't know, man. I mean, there's like people I'm thinking of, but I'm not gonna say that. You know, like obviously Jimi Hendrix would be sick to just like play drums on a song while he's playing guitar. Man, that's tough, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
there's probably some like rappers that it would be cool to like play music on their song or like sing a chorus or something. But yeah, I would say like Ozzy, Tom, Jack, probably those three, and maybe a couple others in that vein.
You could have one hell of a band with you four.
Yeah, Flea, Dave Grohl, me, Tom, and Jack, dude.
Yeah.
One day.
Hell yeah, dude. Okay. I think I kind of asked you this earlier, but like if when I say this time, I mean like if there's like a moment, like your very earliest memory of music.
War Pigs.
Fuck it right, dude.
Yeah, dude.
War Pigs.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay.
An Electric Funeral. Honestly, War Pigs is just more iconic, so I say War Pigs. But that was my first. What is this?
Yeah,
like,
that one's one that will do that.
That's when it got me, dude.
Hell yeah, dude. Okay. What is something that you've learned like in your music career that you wish you could go back and tell your you know the young version of you getting into it?
Stop putting your friendships before your business because they're gonna just try and ruin you. Like, I mean, literally, bro, for the past 10 years, everyone I knew was like, hey, you're going to go farther faster if you just go solo. Like, your band's great, but you are your band, and you need to stop being so loyal to these dudes who aren't loyal to you, and you are giving way too much to people who really don't actually give a fuck about you. They're just riding your... They're just pretending to because they get something out of it. But at the end of the day, you know... You're either gonna find out the hard way or you're gonna like just split off and go for it. And I found out the hard way, and now I really regret all the time that I mean I am who I am today because of the journey that I went on because of that. But like, dude, if I would have started my solo career 10 years ago, I'd be fine right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's interesting, man. Like, we were talking before we rolled, and I'm not going to bring up any specifics because you said you didn't want to get into it, and I respect with the homies. I don't want to do that. But just generally speaking, I think when you are responsible for the majority of the creative output in a project, that makes you have to do even hardcore more due diligence about who you bring in to materialize it. You know what I'm saying?
When other people aren't doing the work, they're not appreciating the work, and they're not appreciating that. Number one, they're completely absent of the results of the work. So they don't know what's coming. They don't know what's being worked on. They don't know what's happening. And so they don't understand why you're so emotionally invested in something that their hands are off of it. So what happens is you just accomplishing your goals and like trying to accomplish your dreams. Now you're an asshole. Now you're a dictator who wants to control everything, and it's like, dude, I just want you to get off the couch, bro. Like, I literally just want you here and being my friend, and I want to work on this, and I want, like, your girlfriend to not be in my band. Like, I don't care about that. Like, stop bringing all these outside influences that aren't us. You know, we put our hands in the circle, said this is our lives, and all of a sudden, when I'm the only one doing it, and they're not, they can't be like, man, I don't want it as bad as he does. It turns into, oh, he wants it too much.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it's just like, well, what do I do now? You know, and then you got to slow down for them, or get somebody else, or you're a dick.
I mean, there's a and not just in that exact circumstance. I would like to tack on that. We both left our hometowns to come here.
Right.
I mean, me much more recently, but like, you gotta, when you want to do something, man, eventually you have to either do it yourself or really curate a group of folks that are going to be on your team and help you do it. You got to go.
I was talking about this last night. You don't realize until you're older, making choices is a fucking life skill. It's not, when I say making choices, I don't mean do this or do that. I mean, nothing versus something is a choice. Am I going to lay around all day and think about what I want to do, or am I going to like get up and put it into action and like accomplish something? That is something that a lot of people like don't know how to do. A lot of people are like, I'm going to do this one day. 5 years go by and I did 1,000 things already. You know what I mean? And it's like, whoa, like I didn't realize after so long seeing all these people who are like, well, one day I want to do this and I'm going to do this and I want to do this and like this is what I want, and then they just like don't do it. Like when I'm like I want to do something, I'll pull my phone out and I call the number. You know what I mean? It might not be today. I might put it on my to-do list and do it tomorrow, but it's like if I like finishing a circle and completing a task, that's a life skill, dude. A lot of people can get to 90%. A lot of people can write a song and record it and get it almost mixed, and then nothing happens. And it's like, you got to finish that mix, you got to master that shit, you got to put it out. And a lot of people can get to the finish line, but they can't cross it. And that's a skill. Getting to the start line is a skill. It's crazy, dude. Like I never really thought about it until like the last few years when I was just around people that like they just want this and they want that and they don't do anything. It's crazy.
Yeah. That's good stuff, man. Okay, I got one more. Well, I guess we kind of covered that because I always go like, what's something that you wish you knew? And then like, what's a piece of advice that you give someone getting into the industry? And I feel like that's a solid piece of advice, is like surround yourself with people who are either do it yourself, or get people involved that you can trust to like stay the course, man. Because that's hard.
Yeah. I kind of wish I would. I wish right now that I was a little bit more theoretically gifted in like melodic endeavors. I just joined a jazz band. I play at Nashville Monday Night Jazz every Monday. It's over on the North End. Dude, everybody's like next level theory skills, and like they all can play by ear, and like they'll just call the numbers out, and like I know the number system, but they're playing in relative minors and majors, and they're calling out like all these chord shapes that are like you have to be like on level 3 to like quickly pick up what they're talking about. And it's like I'm still at the level where it's like, hey, like what key are we in? And if you say B, that means we're playing in B. For them, like if they say we're playing in B, really what that means is we're playing in a mode of B, and we're sticking to a root note in that mode, and we don't fucking play B once. You don't play a B in this song, but it's technically in the key of B, and it's like that's how a lot of this music's working. And I just like, it's awesome to be the dumbest guy in the room. Like I love that, and I'm excited, but I also like I start feeling guilty. You know what I mean? Because I'm working with all these people that like they're go, and I'm just like, oh, like what's going on? Where are we at? You know, where's the structure? And
plenty of opportunities to be that person in this town. That's for
for sure. Yeah.
But I think what you're talking about, like embracing that.
Yeah.
That's a good piece of advice too, bro. It's like don't have to be the best in the room all the time.
Nah, dude. Somebody I don't know who was saying it the other day. I was literally having a conversation like yesterday or the day before, and they were like, if you're the smartest guy in the room, everywhere you go, like you're dumb. Like you're not doing it right, you know? Because you got to be growing. And that's what's awesome about my new band, dude. Man, like all those dudes, you know, they're all like gods, dude. They're all like so cool at something. You know, they all have some life skills or some chops that I don't have or some knowledge that I don't have, and it's like I'm just the mediator, dude. Like I'm the the delegator. Like, I'm like, you go here, you do that. You be dope over there. You be amazing over there. And then you stop being amazing so we can hear him be amazing. And then you go be amazing again. And it's like, dude, they're all like drum corps level. Like, there's 2 dudes, the guitar players didn't do drum corps because they're guitar players. But like, I mean, they have like their own blessings. You know what I mean? Like, I could literally go down the whole roster and just like geek out over like every one of my bandmates right now. And it's cool, dude. It's cool because I think I have more experience with like leading a band than all of them, but they're all like doper than me at something, you know.
Yeah.
And it's been really awesome, and the fact that they trust me.
That's a fun thing. I experienced that with the band that I put together to do those couple of shows back home. It's like I felt very blessed to have people who were like down with what I was doing enough, but that I was like, you're all way better than me.
Right.
All of you at whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
Like the guy.
And I've been in bands where the whole band's better than the guy that his name's on the music. And it's not always fun, dude. There's times where you have that there's a price to pay for that shit, dude. Having a leader that's incompetent, it sucks, dude. So well,
you do have to be, like you said, the delegating thing is what you're there for.
Right.
But you gotta, man, it's so cool. I'm happy for you. I'm happy that you've cultivated that group of folks around you who are like, who have the chops and all the stuff to like execute what your vision is.
Yeah.
But who are also like chill enough to be like, yeah bro, you know.
Dude, it's crazy. There's 7 of us. The personality chemistry is like so problem free, dude. Everybody's fucking chill. Like, there's the tall dude, Matt. He's got the strongest personality in the band, and it's nice because he lightens the room up. You know what I mean? It's like everybody's like drum corps vibes. So they all show up, ready, set, go. Tell me what to do, and I'll do it. And Matt's just like the dude from the streets of Murfreesboro who's just like jamming and shredding the guitar, and like he has this like special personality where like he's kind of like my I don't know, like first mate, you know what I mean? Like I let him lead as much as he wants to within reason, you know what I mean? Because he's not afraid to be like, no, let's do this or let's do that. And it's like, if I disagree with him, I'm just like, fuck off. You know what I mean? He's my roommate. I'm his bass player, and we work over at Sierra's together as well. So it's like we're around each other a lot. But it's cool to have him, and then like literally, bro, everybody else is either like quiet, funny, or just like chill and down as fuck for whatever. So like, so far, man, I mean, the band's only been around for maybe like 6 months, if that. But like, dude, I've had no problems. The only issue and the only complaint I have is I got to put 7 people's schedules in alignment. It just doesn't. Like I've got to get my band making enough money to where my goal is to, if they play a gig with me, they're gonna make more money than what they would have that day at work.
They can prioritize it.
Yeah, and until then, I'm having sectionals and individual practices. Like as soon as I leave here, I'm going to my guitar player's house, and me and him are gonna have practice. And then Monday, I'm gonna go practice with my drummer. And then, you know, like next week, I'm going to go practice with the other guitar player. And like, then I'm going to give homework to the horn players, you know. But there's 7 of them. So if 1 or 2 of them can't show up, there's 5 of them. You know what I mean? And so like last night, we went to Jackson, and just me and Max, one of my guitar players, we just went. And that's what the cool thing about trying to be a solo act now too, is like, I can go by myself. So that's the whole point. So I'm trying to just create a risk-free, like invincible system where it's like I am unfuckable.
Yeah, there you go. There's your lesson, kids. Be unfuckable.
Yeah,
bro. I appreciate you hanging out.
Dude, yeah, thanks, man. It was a good time.
I want you to tell the folks where can they find you?
Brother Dusty, anywhere. You can actually, I think you can Google Brother Dusty. Which
Yeah,
is
you
pretty
can.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
bro.
Cool.
That
That's awesome.
fucking iconic image, bro.
Dude,
with
that's
the hat
great.
and shit.
Really? Is that what comes up?
Yeah.
It used to not be that. It used to be like a more like ratchety street pic. Dude.
Nah, it's legit, bro.
That's awesome,
yeah.
man.
Like even Google's AI knows who
Dude,
you are.
you know
bro.
that picture? I'm afraid I'll never have a picture that's better than that. I've been having like a crisis in aging of like, dude, was that the best picture that will ever exist of me? Like, am I to the point now where it's like, like you see Slash. No one's got a poster of Slash at this age on the wall. You know what I mean? It's like you got mid-20s, early 20s Slash on your wall.
That's who's on your wall, bro.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude, is that picture like... Is that what's going to be on my gravestone?
Hey, man, like, even if it is, it's fucking dope.
It's a great picture, dude. Yeah. But I'm just like, dude, I hope to God, I don't want to be old, bro. Like, I don't want to, like, I hope I take a better picture than that one day.
Bro, we've all got it to do, man.
Yeah.
Maybe if we would all be so lucky if there's at least one picture of us that's that cool.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, Brother Dusty, Instagram's my main thing. YouTube would be next. I don't really use Facebook. I use my personal Facebook more. I'm on Spotify. I'm on I use DistroKid right now. I'm probably going to get like a distribution thing soon, but I'm on every platform. So
yeah, and I will leave
Brother
links
Dusty
to everything in the show notes and everything. And yeah, dude, looking forward to having you on the round. Whenever we'll get that scheduled.
Yeah. I gotta start practicing. I've been working on it,
good.
dude.
It's gonna be good, man.
Yeah, I've been inching. I got a song that I gotta rewrite. Like I rewrote some lyrics and I rewrote the guitar, so I've got to like get that in my head to where I don't play the old version. So that's what I've been working on. That's why I didn't take last Friday and I pushed it. Was like I want to perfect that fucking song before I go in there.
Nice. So I'm really looking forward to it, brother. I appreciate you.
Dude,
coming on. And sharing your story, man.
Sick, man.
And yeah, so I guess I'll do the outro thing. This has been the Good, the Bad, and the Music podcast. I'm your host, T. Davis, and I've been here with
Brother Dusty.
Yeah. And go ahead and like, subscribe, and follow, and all that stuff. And go listen to Brother Dusty's new single, Whoa. Go watch the video on YouTube. There will be a link wherever you're listening and or watching this. You will not be disappointed. You will be entertained. Do you have any shows coming up that you want to give a quick
man, I think my next like full set is in the middle of like the 5 Points intersection on August 22nd. We're just playing outside with like a stage.
Hell yeah. Show up to that.
Yeah.
And be ready.
They're selling weed. The stage is next to a weed truck. So
next to the weed truck at 5 Points.
Yeah.
On the 22nd.
Garden Family. Shout out to Sam and Garden Family.
Hell yeah. All right, bro. I appreciate you.
Oh yeah, dude.